welcome you to the Home Depot SEC on CBS. Both teams took the field a moment ago in light rain showers. South Carolina and Florida in an SEC battle. And it's Steve Spurrier's second game back as an opposing coach on this field, which he knows so well. It's the Home Depot SEC. South Carolina 7-3. Florida comes in with an 8-1 record, and they have already clinched a spot against Alabama in the SEC championship game. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson, Tracy Wolfson along in a moment. Gary, Florida just might be the hottest team in the country right now.
I think you're right. Since that loss to Ole Miss, Florida has really become a perfect storm here in college football because they can do so many things so well, whether it's special teams with the returns, blocking punts. Their athletes are all over the field. On defense, they're making turnovers, hitting players, and of course, their offense has exploded because Tebow's back, and they have speed all over this football team. No one's playing better than Florida.
Well, on the other side of the field, you've got a guy in Steve Spurrier who has not lost his touch.
No, I don't think so, and I think that's really the reason for this football game, that they have a chance. If there is a weakness in this team, I think Steve Spurrier is the guy to find it. Now, he's got a couple of playmakers that he can go to. Jared Cook and Kenny McKinley match up against anybody in college football, and they can make plays. The problem for Steve is to get from Spurrier to those two guys, he's got to go through his quarterback. And his kind of quirky way to do it now, he's going to go with both of them in this game. Last week, he rotated both quarterbacks.
This game and all SEC college football games brought to you in crystal clear CBS high definition. Under light rain, Florida won the toss, deferred to the second half. South Carolina will get the ball. We expect showers throughout much of the afternoon. Not so much as to affect the game. Florida leads this series. Florida has never lost to South Carolina here, and the last South Carolina win, 2005. Caleb Sturgis, number 19, will kick off for the Gators. Captain Munnerlyn is one of the deep men, and he will gather it in at the 1. Nailed at the 16. Jeffrey Demps and Moses Jenkins. And let's get more on the quarterbacks from Tracy Wolfson.
Guys, I spoke to Steve Spurrier after warm-ups, and I asked him, will you rotate quarterbacks after each play like you did last week? He said, yes, probably. I said, will it just be Chris Smelley and Stephen Garcia? He said, probably. I said, who will start? He said, Chris Smelley. Probably. Well, that's as concrete as you're going to get from Steve Spurrier. We'll just have to wait and see now.
And it is Smelley, so he did not deceive you. First down and 10. Mike Davis is the deep back in the eye. Play fake. Smelley rolls out, finds his tight end.
Actually, it's
fullback.
Yep.
Patrick DeMarco. Absolutely. 47, and that's a quick gain of 13. And here comes Stephen Garcia. Last week against Arkansas, these two teams, two quarterbacks, rotated on just about every play.
Yeah, there's really interesting reasons why Steve doing it. Well, we will talk about that as the game kind of transpires.
Empty backfield. Now Mike Davis sets up behind Stephen Garcia. Garcia much more of a running threat. He'll hand it to Davis, and Davis doesn't get a thing. He's second down and 9. Justin Tratto, number 94, with a stop, and here comes Chris Smelley, number 7, back on the field.
I think the reason that Steve has gone to this is neither quarterback obviously has separated himself. That's number 1. But number 2 is Steve's going back to his brief stay in the NFL with the helmet, microphones. He was able to call a play and then give one more thought to his quarterback. So he's actually almost playing quarterback now.
Just a guess, he wasn't real happy with Garcia after that last play. Here's Smelley, blitz. Pass is almost intercepted. Whoa! Ahmad Black, who has 5 picks for the season. And now it's going to be Garcia who gets an earful and then comes in with a play.
Well, this ball was slightly behind, had the tight end wide open coming across, and it was behind, and Ahmad Black almost picked that thing off and went the other way with it. Jared Cook is one of the 2 guys we talked about, and you'll see those shallow crossing routes, especially on 1st and 2nd down. Arkansas was very successful against Florida with that.
Hasn't happened that South Carolina has gone 3 and out very often. They're looking at 3rd and 9. Corner blitz. Got him. It'll be 4th down. There's your 3 and out. Garcia is caught by Brandon Spikes, number 51, and Carlos Dunlap, number 8.
You know, as much as you talk about the strategy and the formations and the flop and the quarterbacks, the reason that this Florida team is playing well, if you turn on the tape, is their defensive linemen refuse to be blocked. They're winning one-on-one battles.
Spencer Lanning with the punt. Brandon James, always dangerous. We'll let this one. It's a poor punt. It does take a South Carolina roll, but only to the 35, which makes it a 36-yard punt. Steve Spurrier, head coach here for so many years, back for the 2nd time as the head coach at South Carolina. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Sonic, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Progressive Insurance, and by the new AT&T. Florida comes in having won its last 5 by huge margins. Their only loss this year, 1-point defeat to Ole Miss here the last week in September. Steve Spurrier's team 3 and out, and now Tim Tebow and the Gator offense, a team that has been on fire in the last 5 weeks. Low snap option, reverse to Percy Harvin, goes right, has great speed, as you know, and he's across the 50 and down to the 43. A quick gain of 22.
Well, they've got so many different ways that they can move the football against you. Coming in with the option going one way, everybody's trying to over pursue it. It goes back the other way. Let me give you some bad news already if you're a Gamecock fan. Anytime Florida has a carry or a gain of 20 yards or more, they've scored 34 out of 40 times.
That gain was 22. 1st down and 10 at the 43-yard line. Here's the change. 3 men down for Ellis Johnson's South Carolina Gamecock defense, number 3 in the country. Dive play attempted left side, and Jordan Lindsay was there, number 41. Well, Tebow has gotten himself back into the Heisman Trophy conversation with a brilliant 3-game stretch. He has scored 14 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Troutwine, Johnson, the Pouncey twins, and Watkins up front. The wideouts are terrific. Murphy, Harden, and Riley Cooper. Demps with great speed in the backfield, and Aaron Hernandez is the tight end. 2nd down, 11. 5 defensive backs for South Carolina. Here's Tebow, keeps, cuts, fumbles. The ball's out. It looks like South Carolina was very close.
He got it.
He did. Darian Stewart, number 24. This Florida team is plus 13 in turnovers.
I think it was Jasper Brinkley, the middle linebacker, who was so big in this game 2 years ago and did not play last year. And the game plan, yep, it was. The game plan for South Carolina was our big guys gotta hit their little guys. If we can play physical football, we got a chance, and they did it.
$11:50 to go, 1st quarter. South Carolina with a rare turnover for them. And Stephen Garcia looks like he's going to be first on the field. Up front, King, Meredith, Anderson, Campbell, and Sorensen. McKinley is one of the wideouts. Jason Barnes the other. The tight end, a real potent weapon, Jared Cook. Mike Davis and DeMarco in the backfield. The lineups presented by the Home Depot. 1st down, 10, South Carolina at their own 42. It is Chris Smelley who starts the series. Davis and DeMarco in the backfield. McKinley in motion. Play fake. Smelley goes deep left side. For Jason Barnes, it's incomplete. Barnes has not caught a pass in the last 3 games, defended by Janoris Jenkins. Defensively for Florida, Tratto, Marsh, Sanders, and Cunningham up front. The linebackers are Brandon Hicks, Spikes, and Ryan Stamper. And the secondary, Jenkins, Black, Wright, and Joe Hayden. Garcia's in. Four-man rush, quick flip left side. Tried the inside screen, and McKinley has caught him drop for a loss back to the 41.
See, Steve will be very upset with this pass from Steven Garcia. You must be accurate on these quick screens to the outside. When your receiver has to jump, he can't move forward. Watch the ball from Garcia. It's a quick screen to the outside. The ball up too high for McKinley. By the time he gets his feet planted, this Florida defense just way too quick for that to happen. You got to throw that ball to the upfield shoulder, and you got to allow that receiver to run and catch it at the same time.
Now Chris Melly is the quarterback, young man out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 3rd and 11 after the fumble recovery. Blitz corner. Smelly avoids the problem. Tratto tracks him down. It'll be 4th down. As Smelly got to the 47-yard line, but far short of the yardage needed for the 1st down.
Well, this is such a much better defense that Florida has, obviously in 2008 than they had in 2007 when they had a bunch of young pups playing back there. They're sounder, they give you more looks, and they do a lot more zone blitzing, and that time no one open.
Spencer Lanning on to punt for the 2nd time. Brandon James inside the 10 in case it is returnable. Short. James runs up, catches it on the fly, and is immediately driven down by DeMarco, the fullback, number 47, at the 25-yard line. 10-10 to go, opening quarter. South Carolina and Florida scoreless. No score, 10-10 to go. Crowd noise could be a factor for South Carolina. For more, here's Tracy.
Well, it already is. There's been some rearranging of some furniture down here on the South Carolina sideline. The defense was originally sitting right in front of the Gator fans as they were screaming some pretty crude things in their ear. The coaches had the chairs switched in front of the gates. Remember, this is the first time that South Carolina has been in a loud environment like this so far this season. Their road games have included Ole Miss, Vandy, and Kentucky, and it's something that Spurrier was concerned about going in.
Here's Tebow on 1st down, and that short hops to the right side. It'll be 2nd down. Now, he made a point in our conversation the other day that his kids, many of them, have never played in front of this large of a crowd.
Yeah, this year, that's for sure.
Right.
And they've had, in this recruiting class that was so heralded a couple of years ago, they're just looking forward to coming and playing this game here in the Swamp. I mean, this is one of the reasons they wanted to play in the SEC is playing a crowd like this.
Chris Rainey is on the field now. Number 3, one of the freshman running backs, he and Jeffrey Demps. 3 men down for South Carolina. They bring only 3. Tebow keeps it, and he moves out to the 29. There is a flag at the 25. Well, as we sort out the call, let's check the South Carolina defense. It's going to be a holding call. Lindsey, Pepper, Adjuboy, and Matthews, the front 4, often only 3. Norwood, Brinkley, and Stewart, the linebackers. And in the secondary, Chris Culliver has to sit out the 1st half. The starting free safety, he was engaged in a fist fight last week, ejected from that game, and suspended for the 1st half of this one. So Thomas Cook Woodson.
Holding number 56 on the offense. That penalty is declined. It'll be 3rd down.
That's very interesting. The strategy would have been 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 6. Now, most times you go 2nd and 20.
Right.
So going against the grain here, going with the 3rd and 6 call. See how it works out.
Keyston Moore goes wide to the right, leaving Tebow alone in the backfield. They bring 4. Tebow comes near side. He's got Lewis Murphy for a 1st down. At the 39, make it the 40-yard line. Captain Munnerlyn defending. It didn't work out.
No, it didn't. I got to say, frankly, it's against the grain thinking. Usually you make them go the 20 yards in 2 plays. You just divide. instead of 3rd and 6, and that's an easy throw. 3rd and 6 for, you got a lot of options out there.
You see Murphy, fourth longest streak on the other side of the ball. Kenny McKinley has caught a pass in 40 consecutive games in which he has played. First down, 10. And again, South Carolina 3 down. Here's Tebow under some pressure, flips it right side to Demps, who cannot get around the edge. Darian Stewart, number 24, fine job defensing. And Jordan Lindsay had some pressure on the play.
Kind of watch what happened here. You're getting a pre-look. There's the safety right there. Okay, he was back here, and then right before the snap, he runs right there, Emmanuel Cook, and lines up and gives him that 8-man front, trying to give him a real late look up front. Emmanuel Cook is usually the strong safety. He lines up deep, and at the last minute, trying to keep that Florida offense a little off balance.
Second down, 8.
Same thing again.
Harvin comes alongside Tebow. This time they bring 5. Tebow keeps it and leans across the 45 out to the 46. Ellis Johnson is in his first year as the defensive coordinator, came over from Mississippi State, and has them ranked 3rd in the country.
They do. And this is the 3rd straight time that Florida has ranked a highly ranked defense going into the game. Now, Kentucky was highly ranked, Vanderbilt was highly ranked, and now South Carolina. But when you watch the tape, the front 7 reminds you of Kentucky, but the secondary is much better. It's a much more solid defense.
6 defensive backs in now for South Carolina on this 3rd down play. And they're going to bring the blitz. Tebow into the right side. Harvin, can he shake the tackle? Yes, he leans out and gets a first down. And that gives us a chance to go back to Tim Brando for this Heisman Watch presented by Nissan.
All right, Vernon, Gary, Colt McCoy completed 71% of his throws against Kansas today, including this 36-yarder to Brandon Collins. Noshawn Marino had his 13th 100-yard rushing game against Auburn today. Crabtree and Harrell have the week off, and neither one of you give me a hard time. We had Tim Tebow pictured earlier today. He's clearly in my top 3. Back to you.
All right, no hard time given. Not at all. Here's Tebow again. And he's to the 47-yard line. Well, today the first time in NCAA history that a Heisman winner is playing against a team coached by a Heisman recipient. Tebow, of course, won it as a sophomore last year. Steve Spurrier was the winner in 1966 for the Florida Gators.
And Vern, I know you were struck by how educated and kind of, the way Tim approached his vote in the Heisman. You liked that, didn't you?
Absolutely. It's 2nd down. Here's the option, and Tebow keeps, cuts. It'll be 3rd down. Here's the point Gary was making. We chatted with Tim yesterday, and of course, as a winner, he has a vote for the rest of his lifetime. And he's back in the mix, along with Harrell and Crabtree and Bradford and a couple of others.
Colt McCoy.
Yes, Colt McCoy. Thank you. But Tim said, I'm going to make an educated vote.
Right.
And he did not discount the possibility, if he thinks he's playing better than anybody else, of voting for himself. I kind of like that.
Yeah, he did not just kind of give you the stock answer.
3rd down. 3rd down and 3. Tebow pulls it back. He's under some pressure and has to get rid of it. That was Byron McKnight, number 92, who was right in Tebow's face. It'll be 4th down.
I tell you, it's a good thing they got pressure on Tebow that time, because Lewis Murphy just popped wide open. It would have been a huge play. The best way to stop a good pass offense is get to that quarterback and make him get rid of that ball before anything can happen, because Murphy had a touchdown on the play.
That's going to bring on Chaz Henry, who might be a little well rested. This is only the 29th punt for Henry this year.
South Carolina needs to play safe here.
All right, bobbled, and he pooch kicks it to the right side. Looks like it's going to be very effective. Fair catch, caught at the 8. It is. 33-yard punt, perfectly placed. Chaz Henry, the sophomore.
Yeah, I don't know if he's upset, obviously, with himself. The ball kind of spun away from him, and he did make a good play on it, because that thing was a knuckleball coming back to him.
Low in the outside corner. We're still scoreless. Doubleheader for you. The NFL on CBS tomorrow. League game early. Baltimore at the Giants. lead game late. San Diego at Pittsburgh. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms will be there. It all begins with the NFL Today tomorrow at noon Eastern time on CBS. And on the sidelines here, his team having played on Thursday night, owner of the New England Patriots, Bob Kraft, visited us in the booth a while ago and said he is a huge college football fan. He is here at the invitation of Florida coach Urban Meyer. First down and 10. Here's the toss right side. Mike Davis got a little bit of a lane as he gets around the corner. He's out to the 14. Brandon Spikes, number 51.
Well, what would be a perfect game here for Steve Spurrier in his mind? I think, when he talked to us, he said, we got to get it to the fourth quarter. We got to get it like 2 years ago when we had a chance to win the game and didn't work out. What he's looking for is long drives, move the chain drives. Now, I know it sounds illogical, but I think he'd take a bunch of 6 and 7 yard gains instead of a couple 20-yard gains. He wants to eat the clock.
2nd and 4. Garcia can't find a lane. He's tackled for loss.
Yeah, it just pops out. The Florida defensive linemen refuse to stay blocked. They're not as dominating as they were 2 years ago when their defensive front four kind of won them a national championship. But these guys are coming on, and when they get blocked, they get off of blocks. You can see it. Marsh does it, and they force them either way. And plays that look good 2 or 3 steps into the snap, all of a sudden close up.
Eric Baker, a freshman, is on in the running back spot now. 2 tight ends, and Chris Smelly is the quarterback on 3rd and 5. Smelly back, being chased. He's in the end zone. It's intercepted. Picked off by Brandon Spikes. 2nd time this year he has returned an interception for a touchdown.
What a beautifully designed defensive blitz, and Spikes freed up because his man blocked one of the blitzers.
Smelly is picked off. Jonathan Phillips for the extra point. Up and good. Brandon Spikes.
Spikes is right here, and he has the running back right there. Now watch when the running back goes in and blocks. Spikes comes up and frees. Smelly thinks there's no one there. He's going to throw the ball right here, and all of a sudden Spikes, all 6'4" of them, makes an easy play. Gets caught, his back falls down, he just becomes a football player, reaches up, and another 7 points for the perfect storm in college football.
Brandon Spikes, number 51, had 2 interceptions in the nighttime game here against LSU, one of which returned for a touchdown. And the Gators now with 7 non-offensive touchdowns this season. Charlie Strong, defensive coordinator, who has been around Florida for a long time.
Right. Actually, the opposite way, too. He was at South Carolina when Steve was here. Spikes has become the Tebow of the defense. He basically has.
Emotional leader.
Absolutely. And playmaker, too.
Here's the kickoff. Sturgis. It's taken by Captain Munnerlyn. And he's out to the 27-yard line. Compete against your friends in College Bowl Pick'em to become the ultimate champion and for your chance at the $10,000 grand prize. It's free to play. Sign up now at cbssports.com/fantasy.
Well, they got to get the ball to Kenny McKinley and Jared Cook. Those are the playmakers. They've got to find, Steve has to find a matchup where he can get them one-on-one and take advantage. Because I'm telling you, McKinley and Cook can match up with anybody in that secondary and win.
That is Jared Cook, who goes in motion and sets up left side. Here's Garcia back to throw. Deep left side. He's got Cook open. And his momentum carries him out of bounds short of the first down. He's out at the 33-yard line. And now it'll be Chris Smelly. Did you ever rotate quarterbacks ever?
No, not like that.
Would you like to? Would you have?
I always said, it's kind of a running joke. I like the 2-quarterback system if I'm the number 2 quarterback. Here's kind of a gimmick here.
Yep.
Quirky offense for Steve. Lineman way out here to the bottom.
This is the Emery and Henry formation. Now they go back to the William and Mary formation. Second down. Tipped, intercepted. Brandon Hicks and Ahmad Black. Hicks tipped it. Black picked it. And it's number 6 for Ahmad Black this year, second in this quarter.
Yeah, Brandon Hicks right here, the end of the line. Nobody blocks him. Coming right off the corner or the outside, the open end right there. No one blocks him. Got to get it past Hicks. And then Black steps right over. You know, Black is one of those guys that was actually Florida people thought was a recruiting mistake. And the more he plays, the more he kind of just lands on his feet and finds the ball.
6 interceptions this year. Urban Meyer says he's not the fastest guy on this squad, and this is a team built for speed. And now time out.
Time out of the half.
Yes. Steve Shaw is our referee today. There's Ahmad Black.
Yeah, he's making the plays, and so is Florida. Not a great start for South Carolina.
Ahmad Black with the interception after Brandon Hicks tipped it. 7-0, and Florida now back to, or actually at plus 14. 2 turnovers in this quarter. They lost a fumble earlier. Tebow popped and let it go. Here's Tebow. Percy Harvin starts in motion. Stunts defensively. Harvin's got it up the middle. Harvin's got it to the 5. Harvin has scored.
Wow. Just a well-conceived play again. It wasn't just the option handoff. This was a block handoff, kind of a white block from the tight end.
Jonathan Phillips is on for the extra point. Butch Rowley will hold. Up and good.
So many handoffs on the dive player straight, but this time you get 2 people coming back and cracking back on the backside, and perfect blocks and a great alley. You get guys waiting and seeing if you've got the option play, and all of a sudden you pull a lineman and you pull a tight end and you block the read player and you pop it into the secondary. It is just a scary offense right now.
And it's 14-0. Percy Harvin, the gifted junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia, now has scored in 12 consecutive games. He trails Michael Crabtree of Texas Tech by 1. Harvin healthy this year, had heel surgery in the spring, said he hasn't felt this healthy since he was a sophomore in high school. And now Caleb Sturgis getting ready to kick off. Dion LeCorn has gone back. And Captain Munnerlyn. They are the 2 deep men. Here's Sturgis. Got his foot into this one. Wow, LeCorn a yard back. It's a throwback play.
Not very good.
And they lateral it. That's a free ball. James Smith has the touchdown. The man who snapped the football. Normally, and he's on special teams. And Smith, how about that? And what a moment for the senior, James Smith. One of the special teams stalwarts for this team. Mentioned he's normally the snapper on field goals and punts, and here he is down to be on the kickoff team.
Well, when you try to manufacture points, sometimes things go wrong. And this time things went very, very wrong. Dion LeCorn, a former wide receiver, now a defensive back, tries to throw it back, and it just seems like the Florida football team is in the right place at the right time, and they're doing it really fast.
Special teams, special teams. But how about this for an unexpected touchdown?
And you can see the Gamecock coaching staff trying to manufacture a play right there. They're trying to see if the ball broke the plane as the knee was going down. Pretty close.
Looked like it.
Pretty close. It's within inches either way.
James Smith, a native of Gainesville, one-time walk-on. And his career, he's a redshirt senior. There's the knee, and that might be enough.
God, give it to him, don't you
I
think?
would too, yes. If you have any sense of poetry.
It looks, to be honest, it looks inches short, to be honest, to me. But, I mean, you're right. Come on. Bend the rules just a little bit.
Tweak them.
I tell you, we've got something queued up a little later to watch the offensive line for Florida on that touchdown for Harvin. That was as well blocked a play as you'll ever see. But trying to manufacture points against, we talked about it, the perfect storm. Well, now it's a double perfect storm. It's not only you playing a great team, you're starting to make mistakes.
After review, video evidence shows that the runner was down at the 1 foot line. Place the ball there, and it'll be first down Florida.
You got to put him in the game and give him the ball.
That's
don't
what
you?
I'm thinking. Do they have a play where James Smith runs it?
Right.
He's got a smile on his face.
Oh.
Charlie Strong taps him on the helmet.
Come on, if there's any sense, put him in.
Well, for 35 seconds,
right. It was a
he had a lifetime
great
memory.
Story.
From the 1 foot line. Tebow. No, sir. Jasper Brinkley, number 52, missed the game between these two a year ago and makes the tackle there. Charlie Strong still chatting with James Smith.
Well, you'd never take these for granted, but it's hard to believe that Florida can't punch us into the end zone.
Justin Tratto with a little hip check. 2nd and goal. Jeff Demps and Keyston Moore are in the backfield. Here's the option.
Oh, nothing.
3rd down.
That's why you never take them for granted, do you? Very stout defense up front. We got 6, 7, 8 Gamecocks that are strong enough to take on this offensive line unless the angles favor the Florida offensive line like they did on that touchdown to Harvin.
This Florida team for the season is 37 of 39 inside the red zone. They fumbled at the goal line last week, disputed. They killed the clock in the previous game against Tennessee. It's 3rd and goal. Here's Tebow. Now they are 38 of 40 inside the red zone.
Well, there's one thing Smith can say, Tim, if you go to New York and win it, you got to take me with you. I just got you another rushing touchdown. Same play as the first down play. Troutwine, 75, does an excellent job just slamming his man across and allowing Tebow to end up into the end zone.
James Smith in a custom roll. He's over the ball, and he will snap it back to Butch Rowley. Jonathan Phillips will kick. Gary, take us back at that lateral and the recovery by Smith.
You know what the important thing is? Smith stays home. He sees one guy wide. Instead of him pursuing, he stayed as wide as he had to, and he was there to make it. Otherwise, it would have just been a fumbled play and pounced on by South Carolina. He did his job.
90,000 plus on hand at the Swamp. All this week, Dave presents Tribute Bands Week on The Late Show, plus Katie Couric, Stephen Colbert, and Jack Hanna's Animals. All new this week on CBS. Caleb Sturgis ready to kick off again. And look at that. 21 points off 3 South Carolina turnovers.
I know Florida's moving the ball. They only got 81 yards and 21 points.
Amazing. Here is the kick. Out to the 25 is Captain Munnerlich. And now it's time for the playbook presented by the Hartford.
Well, pick out your favorite offensive lineman for Florida and the tight end. There's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All 6 players get a perfect block, whether it's Watkins, Pouncey, Carl Johnson, or Troutwine. Troutwine right here doesn't have anybody to block, but watch, he goes and gets the safety to ensure a touchdown. Cook right there. 6 perfect blocks for a touchdown. You don't do it any better than that.
South Carolina down by 21 with 2:16 to go in the first quarter. Garcia from behind almost fumbled. Brandon Hicks, number 40, getting the start today in place of A.J. Jones, and Hicks has been a factor here in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'd say so. 1 turnover with a block pass. Remember, Spikes had 1. They're blitzing Garcia. I kind of suspected that that's what they'd do. I asked the coaches, would you go after Garcia? And they said, Charlie Strong said, well, that's one of our strategies. You got to figure Garcia's not a good reader of defenses. He's not ready.
McKinley in motion, 2nd down and 17. Chris Melly now the quarterback. Toss, cut back, and a flag on the far side.
Before the snap, false start, number 84 on the offense, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
Well, these Carolina quarterbacks have spent some time on their backsides behind the line of scrimmage. Smelly sacked 15 times. Garcia. Tommy Beecher, who actually began this year as the starting quarterback, threw 4 picks in the first game.
Right.
And hasn't seen much action since. 2nd down and 22.
They got tackles and guards out there splitting wide this time.
And instead of the screen, they go deep for Jared Cook, and it's incomplete. So it'll be 3rd and a bunch.
Well, let's just kind of put this a little bit in some perspective here as Steve is trying to find a way. This Urban Meyer team this year, you remember they snuck, I don't want to say snuck in, but they got in the last second 2006. This team, style points. Now, this is the 24th ranked team in the country. Okay, they're 7-3. And this is getting another one of those games that they could put up 40 points again in this game.
Five defensive backs on 3rd and 22. Screen pass this time out to the left side. McKinley has it. He's caught a pass in 41 consecutive games now. It'll be 4th down as we go back to the studio for a Liberty Mutual update.
Vern and Gary, I think you both know that Oregon State holds the tiebreaker against USC because they beat them, and Kwesi Rogers was the guy that ripped them up. Here he goes in, that same Rogers, to make it 14-7 against Cal. If they can win out, Vern, they'll go to the Rose Bowl for the first time since '64. You were 24 then, weren't you?
I can see you laughing right now. You're absolutely on the mark. Here's the punt. Brandon James. Whoops.
Is he aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because that ball will hit and roll another 15 yards, and James has supremely confident going for those balls.
Chris Hall made the tackle. Look at this. In the first half, Florida's defense allowed only 23 points, and they forced 31 punts.
Well, they've only been behind once all year, and that was against the Ole Miss, and that was late in that football game. They were winning that game 17-7, I believe, and
right.
They turned the ball over. You know, there's an amazing stat that Tebow, since the Ole Miss game, hasn't even thrown an incompletion in the 4th quarter. He's going to keep that thing alive.
He'll be on the bench.
Yeah.
John Brantley will be playing in the 4th quarter if this keeps up. Here's Tebow, fakes, goes across the middle, caught by Aaron Hernandez, the tight end, and he's banged out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Darian Stewart, number 24. 21-yard pickup.
They just got so many ways to attack you that you get coaches saying things that really you can't believe. Bobby Johnson from Vanderbilt said this: they run the ball extremely well inside. They run the ball extremely well outside. They run the option extremely well, and they have an outstanding passing game, and they're very fast. And by the way, they got the Heisman Trophy guy at quarterback.
Yeah. And he pulls it back and drills it low left side, and the catch is made by Deontay Thompson.
I mean, just think about that. They run the ball extremely well in, out, option, pass, and they got speed all over the field.
That's the end of the first. It's 21-0. We'll return to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. Middle linebacker Brandon Spikes opened the scoring in this game. His second interception return for a touchdown. This one was 12 yards after Brandon Hicks rushed the passer. Spikes picked it off and went 12, and that opened up the deluge. 21 points in a row now for Florida, and they've got a first down and 10 at the South Carolina 22. They've been a little dominant in the first quarter of SEC games. Here's Tebow with the change from the 22. Two men wide to the left. Motion, flags down. Tebow is tackled as he gets near the line of scrimmage, and this looks like it'll be penalty. You had some numbers in mind, I know.
Yeah.
A little show and tell.
We do our homework here,
Yes,
and we get
absolutely.
ready and planned at the end of the first quarter. I said, you know, football around here is a 24/7 job, and
Like it.
people follow it. Do you know that South Carolina has not given up any more than 24 points? So I said that's the key number.
I don't like that.
And 7 was the touchdowns last year. I don't think so. I think this thing maybe. The 24 number might not work, I don't think, in this game.
All that homework last night.
The bad thing for South Carolina is their defense. We don't even know yet. We don't even know because they've turned the ball over and they really haven't been pressured, giving them 2 gift touchdowns.
First down and 5. Rainey is the running back. Here's the option, and will he pitch it to Rainey? Yes, he will. Rainey drops it, and it's picked up by South Carolina. And it's Eric Norwood, number 40. So the second turnover by Florida in this ball game.
Yeah, see, I mean, the South Carolina defense hasn't even had a chance to show if they can stop this high-powered offense, giving up some yards, but they're still making plays. Whenever you're running the spread and you're running the option, there's chances of laying the ball on the turf.
Eric Norwood, Johnny on the spot. He also leads the South Carolina team in sacks with 7. Tim Tebow had a fumble in the first quarter recovered by South Carolina. Another look at this pitch. And Chris Rainey had hit him right up near the helmet. Eric Norwood picks it up, and Tebow, even though raised in Florida and the Philippines, shows that he is not unfamiliar with a rodeo event called steer wrestling.
Hey, he's lucky he didn't get a horse collar right there, to tell you the truth. I thought I saw it and kind of yanked him down by the back of the shoulder pads.
First down and 10. Smelly, number 7. Blitz from the corner. Incomplete. And let's check in with Tracy on the sidelines. Trace?
Well, Vern, as you were talking earlier, this South Carolina defense already feeling the pressure. The players saying we need to play this game for our offense. We need to win it for them. Safeties coach Ron Cooper encouraging his players, saying they have 21 points, but we haven't given up anything. There's no complaining. Let's do our part. Let's get our offense in good field position so we can get back in this game, and that's exactly what they just did there, guys. All
right, Trace, and that makes this a very significant possession for South Carolina. And Garcia bobbles it and has to heave it away.
Not so far, and I kind of, as I watch this, anybody feel confident? Raise your hand that the South Carolina offense is going to be able to move the ball here.
I'm looking at the booth, and there are
there's no hands up here.
Nobody.
I mean, they've tried trick plays, they've tried throwback, they've tried screens, they've tried tackles out lined up at wide receiver, and nothing has worked.
You know what? We got 11 people in the booth.
No hands up.
Nada. Third down. Flag.
I think spikes induced a movement up in front.
So it's going to be Garcia's turn. Well, this, of course, Steve Shaw is going to let us know who was guilty.
Before the snap, false start, number 60 on the offense. That's 5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Terrence Campbell, right guard. Well, Spurrier, 6 SEC championships, a 1996 national champion here at Florida. This is not the first time he's rotated quarterbacks. Most famously, he did so with Noah Brindise and Doug Johnson in a win over Florida State in '97. Here's Garcia back. Left side for McKinley, who is popped by Janoris Jenkins at the point of the catch. Jenkins, Charlie Strong, his coach, saying yesterday he does not lack for confidence.
I'll tell you, Jaquez, Janoris Jenkins right here closes on this ball. He never looks at the football. He knows the down and distance. He comes up and wraps up. A true freshman player playing it exactly the way he should.
So Spencer Lanning is on to punt again, and Brandon James awaits it at the 10-yard line. They've not come after Lanning yet, and this Florida team has Brandon James back to return it. Gets out to the 16-yard line. Tackle made by Kenny Miles, number 31. That's a 50-yard punt, and 11 on the return. Steve Spurrier, he will chat with you just a bit. CBS coverage of the Home Depot SEC continues after this word from your local station. And it's time for Home Depot's Tools for Success. Gary?
Why don't you take this one? You got more experience than I do on this one, don't you? The quarterback rotation, you were a part of this, weren't you, Vern?
Actually, no, but I do remember it. Yeah.
This was, well, I'll tell you, you know what this tells me about the tools for success and rotating quarterbacks? It's not the blueprint or the plan. It's the tools. You got to have the tools in the toolbox. And I you know, Steve's trying to corral some type of strategy here, but so far, nothing.
Well, Smelly and Johnson and Noah Brindise and Doug Johnson, of course, were the quarterbacks for Florida back in '97. Here's the handoff to Harbin, right side. And just as a footnote to that play, Zach Brindise, younger brother of Noah Brindise, is a walk-on quarterback for South Carolina over on the bench. Not expecting to play today, number 17. There he is, out of Fort Myers, Florida. That's the pose of a man who's not going to get on the field.
Yeah, well, if I was him, I wouldn't be too sure about anything today.
Second down. Jeff Demps is in the backfield. Double tight end set. Tebow. Blitz threatened. Blitz is coming. Handoff. Nothing doing. The flags on either side of the line of scrimmage.
Too many people in the backfield, I think, on that one. Illegal formation. Jasper Brinklin, number 52, right in the middle. Flows, scrapes, steps inside. Tate Casey, and makes the play. That's what you got to do if you're... Those linebackers just have a feel how to step underneath those blocks. Remember we watched Rennie Curran doing so well at Georgia a couple weeks ago?
Jasper Brinkley in this game 2 years ago, and that was the blocked field goal game. Jasper Brinkley had 13 tackles in that one. He missed last year with an injury. Keyston Moore is the running back now on second down. Harbin. Tebow keeps it. First down at the 37-yard line. That's a gain of 17. Stoney Woodson makes the tackle.
Well, you kind of forget. I mean, when you talk to defensive coordinators now, they say, okay, we got to stop the dive play. We got to know where Rainey and Demps are. Harbin is almost in pot. Whoa, what about the Heisman Trophy runner right there up the gut? And he has now become, for defensive coordinators, the second and third option to stop in this offense.
17-yard gain for Tebow and a 1st and 10. Pulls it back. Throws it. Got a man open. That's a first down at the 45-yard line. Carl Moore, number 16, with the tackle. A gain that equals his number, 16 yards.
Well, there's so many people critiquing whether Tim Tebow can be an NFL quarterback. And we asked him, do you want to be an NFL quarterback? And he said, absolutely. That's what I want to do in the future. There's a lot of things I want to do, but I want to play and give it a shot at NFL quarterbacking. He's got a ways to go, I'll be honest, but he has an arm. He's just got to refine his tools.
3 men down for South Carolina. Tebow play action again all day and throws it deep. There's a little push, and it's a touchdown. Deontay Thompson, no flag, a little tussle at the 3-yard line. .46 yards.
Deontay Thompson was so calm on that play, and he judged it perfectly. Shoved just before the catch.
Little nudge.
Yep. Carlos Thomas was in perfect position on the play. Watch how late he does this. He calmly sees it, he judges it, and then just a little nudge. No one sees it. Touchdown. Ball was thrown in the perfect spot. 1.5 yards inside. What an offense.
It's 28 zip. Took only 4 plays, 2:15 off the clock. And Deontay Thompson on the receiving end of Tim Tebow's touchdown toss of 46 yards.
Yeah, and remember, this South Carolina defense, or team, you might want to rephrase it, team, because the offense is involved in it. The most they've given up all year in any one game is 24 points. But that's what Kentucky had done. That's what Vandy had done. And now look at this. 3 straight games. They're blowing the lid off these high-rated defenses in this conference.
All of this after they lost at home on September 27th to Ole Miss, a game in which Tim Tebow had 7 yards rushing and failed to get a first down in 30 seconds left in the game on a 4th and 2. This one is going to come back to the 40-yard line. Out of bounds at the 1. Old ball coach is still coaching.
The ball will be put in play on the 40, 1st and 10.
And as Steve Shaw explains what is about to occur, it's time for us now to cue the duck. It is time for the Aflac Trivia Question of the Week. Steve Spurrier ranks 4th in SEC coaching wins. 4th. Name the top 3. I've got a few of them. I think I could get this one. 1st down and 10.
Another tip.
Now, if you're filled with optimism and you're a South Carolina fan, this is their 7th possession offensively. So far, 1 first down, 33 yards of offense.
You know,
that's a Nufta.
Yeah, and Steve, that's about the 3rd or 4th tipped pass. Now, I know South Carolina fans are going, come on, they're good enough. You can't help them with a touchdown on an offensive pass interference. I understand that. But, boy, it's just been a dominating performance. If they didn't score there, they were going to score anyway, it looked like.
Smelly is the quarterback. Rolls right. He's got a man open. Oh, and it hits
Smart penalty. Smart penalty by Florida.
Because Jared Cook was there, and Major Wright used his head.
Yeah, it was a corner blitz, and Smelly didn't throw it right away, and all of a sudden it could have been a touchdown, and Major Wright grabs him. That's a great penalty.
Holding, number 21 on the defense. That'll be a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
See, if you're a defense, you're thinking, okay, I got the corner blitz, the quarterback has to throw it hot. Smelly brings it down, and Major Wright says, if I don't grab on here, it's going to be a touchdown the other way. It was a very, very heady play by Major Wright.
1st down and 10. 2nd penalty against Florida. Chris Smelly, still the quarterback. Play fake. Comes deep left side and finds a man at the 38-yard line. That's Kenny McKinley, number 11. McKinley, who is the leader in almost every statistical category now for South Carolina.
And you know what he reminds you of when you watch Kenny McKinley play? He reminds you of a Florida wide receiver. All those guys that Spurrier had when he was here. Good route runner, goes up, catches the ball, runs his routes the proper depth. Not overly fast, you know, not the fastest guy I ever seen, but makes plays.
Garcia is the quarterback. Looks into the right flat and overthrows a wide open Jared Cook. Flag is down.
Just kind of wonder how much longer this rotation's going to work here. Yeah, because right now Garcia's really struggling.
Holding number 78 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
That is Justin Sorensen, senior right tackle. Well, Kenny McKinley, first in receptions, first in receiving yards. He trails Sidney Rice in touchdowns. Rice has 23, and he's now caught a ball in 41 consecutive games. Sterling Sharp, 20 years ago, held most of those records.
Recruited by Lou Holtz, who's a high school quarterback.
On first down, here's Smelly into the flat, and that's going to be bobbled and caught, but
nothing easy.
Not much. Well, Steve Spurrier chatted with us about the value of Kenny McKinley.
Kenny McKinley is one of the best receivers I've ever coached. I put him right there with Ike Hilliard, Riddell Anthony, Chris Doring, Jaquez, so many of those guys we had down there at Florida. And also Clarkston Hines at Duke University was one of the best I've ever coached. Chris Castor also was a good one. And so many, I've been fortunate to have so many really super receivers during my coaching career.
Pretty high praise from Steve Spurrier.
He does remind you of those guys, though, the way he runs routes. Coming again.
Blitz coming. Hicks was coming, and a diving try is incomplete. It'll be third down, and that gives us a moment to spend with Tim Brando.
All right, Vernon, Gary, Wake needs to win out and have Maryland lose at least once to win the ACC Atlantic. They trail NC State 14-7 following that Russell Wilson touchdown run. And North Carolina just kicked a field goal, so with just over 4 remaining in the second, Butch Davis's team up by 1. Vern.
All right, Tim, thank you. It's 28-0 here with 9:45 to go. And a third down, 23. Spurrier still coaching, but he's looking exasperated, isn't he?
Yep.
Garcia. No place to go. It'll be fourth down. Jermaine Cunningham, number 49, with the tackle.
I'll tell you right now, watching this Florida defense, you're going to need an upper echelon offense to move the ball against these guys. I mean, you got to be Oklahoma, Texas good, Alabama good. If you have any weaknesses, they've got too many athletes on this defense. Now, Demps is in the game. Will they go for the block here? They've been going return all the way.
This Florida team has blocked 5 punts this year. Demps has 2 of them. They've got the return on. And it's a short punt that will take a South Carolina bounce. And his foot was not on the line. It's going to be down at the 1-yard line. 45-yard punt, nothing on the return. Steve Spurrier's second trip back as an opposing coach. .856 to go first half. 28-0 Florida. 21 of those points fueled by 3 South Carolina turnovers, and the other a 46-yard pass from Tebow to Deontay Thompson. And now from the 1, Florida's offense. Tebow. Three down for South Carolina. Tebow pulls it back, looks deep, and he overthrows. There was a mix-up on that route. Lewis Murphy. Well, Tim Tebow grew up a Florida fan, went to a multitude of Florida games when he was a kid. We asked him yesterday, did he ever meet Steve Spurrier while he was a child, and Spurrier was the coach here. And he said, no, the lines on Family Day for Spurrier and Danny Werfel were too long. So he didn't meet Spurrier till last year at the Heisman Trophy Awards, and then spent a weekend with him in Fort Worth at the Davy O'Brien. He something really fascinating. Tebow said, I could never have played for him.
I didn't think he would come here. Had Steve still been the coach here, he said, I don't think I'd have come here.
Here's Tebow. Out to the 6. Well, let's go back to Tim's childhood days. Which one is Tebow here? Playing for the Lakeshore Renegades in Jacksonville. He was 12 years old in this video.
Right. I think that might be the last time he's taken a snap under center, too. We know that's not the case, but we talked to him about that. You know, I mean, to be an NFL quarterback, you got to take some snaps under center and throw from under center. Talked to him about that a couple weeks ago.
8:12 to go here with a 3rd down and 5, Florida. Hand off, right side, Harvin. They'll move the chains. It'll be 1st down at the 16-yard line. Eric Norwood, Stoney Woodson, number 36.
Well, you know, Nellis Johnson, the defensive coordinator, was talking about this Florida team, and he said, you know, they've got so many ways to attack you. The only chance you have is to kind of corral the ball, get a lot of guys around the ball. Problem is Dan Mullen right now, who was critiqued so much so early in this year, is kind of on a roll now. He's got so many weapons, like our kids on Christmas morning now. He's just grabbing any package he can and open it. It's a good gift.
Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator for the Gators, came here with Urban Meyer from Utah. Also served with him at Bowling Green. Here's Tebow, and
threw that one away.
Yeah, up for grabs and incomplete. Riley Cooper. Well, Tim Tebow, Gary was curious how many times he had taken the ball under center.
Right. He's got going on almost 875 snaps right there, 17 of them under center. And we did do the research, and Steve McLean and the Florida people came back to and said he's thrown 1 pass in his career after taking the snap from under center.
That was in the season opener this year.
Against Hawaii.
Right. And it was a rainbow.
It was a rainbow. Very good.
Sorry, it's...
Well, we only got it. Well, how much more do we got here?
We got a long way. If your bucket is only half full, we're in trouble. Cliff Matthews makes the tackle. 7:15 to go. 3 turnovers for South Carolina resulted in 21 quick points for the Florida Gators, and they got a 46-yard touchdown pass from Tebow to Deontay Thompson. So it is 28-0, 7:01 to go. And defensively, this is the number 3 team in the country that's on the field right now. Offensively, South Carolina has not been able to draw breath.
No. There's only really 6 teams in college football that are still in the hunt for winning the national championship, and I think Florida's one of 3 that control their own destiny.
That's Keyston Moore, number 33. Tebow back, pressure from the backside, and he's caught and sacked. Eric Norwood, that is 8 sacks this year for Norwood.
Yeah, see, this is, well, I tell you, it's South Carolina, the Gamecocks just got to be kicking themselves. I mean, their defense is doing okay. I mean, you're not going to shut these guys down. Their secondary forces Tebow to pull it back again. He's already thrown 2 passes away on this drive. Bring it down one more time and get him, and that's the game plan against him.
Okay, it's 4th down. Florida is one of 3 teams. Who are the other 2?
Well, we know Texas Tech controls their own destiny.
Right.
We know Alabama does.
There you are.
But the sad thing for me is 119 teams, and only 6 teams are really in it.
Be nice to have a player.
Yeah, we need a few more teams. We need a few more teams.
Wouldn't it be nice to have 8 teams battling? It's time for the trivia question and answer. Steve Spurrier ranks 4th in SEC coaching wins. Name the top 3. A couple of familiar names here. Well, 3 familiar names. How about this? Bear Bryant, John Vaught from Ole Miss, and Vince Dooley, whose Georgia team is in a tussle at Auburn, or was this afternoon. 28-0. Chris Smelley goes right, caught. That's Joe Hills, number 85.
See, Smelly seems to be the guy more in control of the football game. Right now, Steve's offense is based on the quarterbacks anticipating the throw. Right now, to me, the only thing they're anticipating is going to the sideline and getting yelled at. He used to be, at least if you go the whole series, you only get yelled at after third down.
2nd and 4.
That's better.
Joe Hills gets a nice block from McKinley. And Hills to the 40-yard line. Yes, indeed. Well, we're deep into the season now. And how about the remaining undefeateds and 1-loss teams? Alabama, of course, ranked number 1. Texas Tech, Utah, Boise State, and Ball State, and then the 1-loss teams.
Yeah, you know, what's really interesting to me is the argument between Texas and Oklahoma. Should Oklahoma beat Texas Tech? That's probably the most interesting argument. What will happen in that case?
1st down and 10. Screen pass. Mike Davis inside the 30. Best offensive series for South Carolina in the ball game. Joe Hayden makes the stop, but it's a 16-yard gain.
Right, one of those middle halfback screens, but the jailbreak, the offensive linemen are already down on the play, giving it. And you look, it looks like the regular package of plays for South Carolina are working more than the gimmick plays for them. Every time they've tried to dial up a gimmick play, it's kind of backfired in this game.
Now Stephen Garcia grew up in Tampa, so playing close to home now. Garcia, who had a troubled start off the field at South Carolina. Here's the toss to Eric Baker, number 29. Fumble. Scramble for it at the 21-yard line. Boy, South Carolina cannot afford another turnover. 3 already. They recovered. Justin Sorensen, number 78, appears to have gotten it.
Well, it's clearly just anybody could have got this football, and Sorensen fought his way to win that wing. Was that Marsh that he was fighting on the play?
I think so.
It was. Or Dunlap, one of the two, can't tell.
2nd down 8. 28-0. 4:10 to go first half. Smelly the quarterback. Blitz, got him. Ryan Stamper, number 41. Getting a start today. He originally committed to Auburn, and then Urban Meyer convinced him to change and come to Gainesville.
Yeah, you see it. It's a zone blitz again. Everybody's playing zone the backside. When you rush 6, you only have 5 guys back there. They're playing a zone. That's this new type of zone blitz. New. Heck, people have been doing it for 10 years now. Offenses still have trouble with it.
3rd and 14. Smelly is still there. Blitz again. Quick screen. Hills gets a block from McKinley and is down at the 24. It'll be 4th down and either 9 or 10. Brandon Spikes and Will Hill.
Well, wide receiver screen, but Kenny McKinley comes in and rolls up. Well, I tell you, Jenkins is just such a good football player. The more you watch him play, Janoris Jenkins is going to be a star. Charlie Strong said he's so heady for a freshman.
Ryan Suckup, who for the season 17 of 26. This from 41 yards away. Got it. South Carolina is on the board. Garcia to the left. Smelly to the right. Overcast skies. Game began 3:30 with light rain showers. Those have subsided for now. And a crowd that probably will exceed 90,000. Listed capacity here is 88. And Ryan Suckup, who just kicked the 41-yard field goal, will tee it up, kick it deep. Brandon James, number 25, is back to return. James at the 2. the 31. And we want to thank MetLife for providing today's aerial coverage. Watch out for more beautiful aerials as CBS Sports teams up with MetLife for more coverage this fall.
Remember a few years ago, we were all wondering whether the spread would work in the SEC. Remember that was a question?
I do, yes.
I think we've got our answer.
But it's an evolving spread offense,
of course,
isn't it?
Of course, it changes every year.
Yeah.
I mean, with this team, and you know, I think the job that Dan Mullen and the whole offensive staff has done for Florida, kind of, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. And losing Cornelius Ingram has forced this team to be something different. They're really something good different.
Lewis Murphy gets the ball from Tebow. Well, you think about this Florida team losing at home to Ole Miss September 27th, a blocked extra point in that game, a failed fourth down. Since then, offensively, 38 points, 51 points,
Right.
63, 49, and 42. And they put up 28 here in
And
the first half.
my Purdue math says that's 271 to 60. Of course, I had it written down already before you did that.
I assume. I didn't want to take anything for granted. Well, Tim Tebow promised things would not be the same after that Ole Miss game. Look at the possessions and the touchdowns. 34 of 56. Pretty dominant.
Yeah, and you know what? It was an interesting thing when we were talking to Urban about it. He says it hasn't been the improved play of Tebow. It's been his inspiration for the rest of the players.
Here's Tebow going right. Just an observation about that, Gary, as the ball is tipped. We sat with Tim Tebow yesterday and the Pouncey twins, Marquise and Mike, who were just as engaging as you can possibly imagine. And you noted to me afterwards about the interaction with the three players.
He's good with them. He really is. He fits into all the groups on this team. He's done that since he's been a freshman. You know, every different clique, he is part of it and feels comfortable in it. I tell you, South Carolina, you could see this South Carolina defense, why they've been successful. They got some good players. They make plays.
Nice punt by Chaz Henry. Wow. And this one could turn out really good. Oh, baby. "61 yards, his longest of the year." Give yourself a hand, young fella.
61 yards and out on the 2 on top of it. I tell you, you know, I mean, it's going to be really interesting coming down. They got that big game at Florida State. Obviously, next week is just kind of a scrimmage against Citadel, you know, but they've got that big game at Florida State, and then Alabama and them staring at each other. And if they win out, obviously the winner of that game is going to play for the national championship.
Myers said yesterday, here's what we've got: Steve Spurrier, Bobby Bowden, and Nick Saban.
Right.
Think about that.
And here who's each got? Percy Harvin and Tim Tebow.
Good point. Brandon Spikes makes the tackle on this one. Now take a look at the season now. September 27th, they lose at home by 1. Nobody's come close since then, and they lead South Carolina 28-3. Kind of a gloomy day in Gainesville unless you're a Gator fan, and sun is shining brightly. 28-3. And Charlie Strong's defensive unit will take the field. Steve Spurrier's offense starts with a first down at the 5-yard line. It'll be Chris Melly and Mike Davis, with Patrick DeMarco the fullback. McKinley in motion. Toss. Nothing. Loss of 3. Jermaine Cunningham with the stop. Time call. Coming up, the Geico halftime report. Back to Tim and Spencer in the studio. 3rd down here. Quarterback sneak. Florida is out of timeouts. They've used all 3. And it'll be 4th down now. The clock winding down with 47 seconds to go.
Yeah, there'll be about 9 seconds to go, and South Carolina will have to snap it. And remember that punt block team or return team. Now, the other strategy could be if you fair catch the ball, you could get a free kick.
You ever seen that happen? I have.
I don't remember. Have you really?
I have, yeah. It was not in the SEC. It was in that other league where they play for pay. Brandon James, 4th career punt returns for a touchdown. And the clock now at 8 seconds to go. Flag is down, delay of game call.
Well, I'd back him up, wouldn't you?
Before the snap, delay of game on the offense, half the distance to the goal, remains 4th down.
South Carolina has not had a punt block this year.
Florida has blocked 5. That was David Nelson, number 83. Demps has blocked 2. Dunlop has blocked 2. And here's Lanning with his back heel just near the end line. They come after and they bump him, but there is no, there is a flag. There is a flag. Brandon James tackled at the 4. This may be a moot point, but Eric Norwood. Let's see what we got.
You could decline it, I think, if you're South Carolina here, and I'm sure Steve would.
There's a South Carolina player down at the 38-yard line.
Running into the kicker against the defense. That penalty is declined. Halftime.
Carlos Thomas is the injured player. He is getting some assistance. Another look at the replay.
Pretty close here. Pretty close. Is that Demps?
And Tracy's with Steve Spurrier.
Coach, both quarterbacks struggling. Will you stick with the quarterback rotation in the second half, or will you make a change?
Well, which one do you want to play? We're struggling at quarterback and the line a little bit, but our defense is playing well. I'm proud of our defensive kids. They're battling a good offensive team, playing very well. That's about all we got to say good right now.
Thanks a lot.
The team's playing well, too.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Tracy, you didn't answer.
Right. You had a chance.
The Wolf.
She'd have been the first person to ever tell Steve Spurrier who to play at quarterback.
She's tiny but tenacious.
CBS Sports presents the Geico Halftime Report. Geico.com. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geico Halftime Report. I'm Tim Brando with the score in Gainesville, Florida, leading South Carolina 28-3. I'm joined by Spencer Tillman. I don't know about you, but I really wanted to be Tracy Wolfson there for just a second.
Go in and play and line them up. This one is so easy to diagnose in the first half. Florida coming in now at this point, 227-26. They have outscored their opponents in the first half, Tim. Listen, this South Carolina team has not given themselves a chance defensively to keep them in the game.
All right, let's get right to the action with our halftime blitz, ladies and gentlemen. Texas taking on Kansas, and the Colt gets it done here.
He's loose here. This is going to put him up 14-0. 30th win for Colt McCoy. 30-win ties him with Vince Young all time. Doing it on the ground this time for number 12, Tim.
Kansas is going to drop to 6-5. Texas, of course, looking for a little help. They may get it from OU next week. We shall see against Texas Tech. Okay, Indiana taking on Penn State today. This is Darrell Clark. He's going to find Dion Butler for the 6-yard strike. After the game, Joe Paterno asked a little difficult question.
Have you put any thought into the possibility that there's any possibility that next Saturday could be your final game at Beaver Stadium?
I haven't even thought about it.
It'll be the BCS, it'll be BSC. Penn State captures the Big Ten title with a win against Michigan State next week. Speaking of the team that's contending with them, Ohio State, the Illibuk Trophy is at stake here.
Terrell Pryor, he's going to connect with Dane Stanzenbacher for a 20-yard touchdown pass. And this one, Beanie Wells also went over 1,000 yards today. This is 3,000 for his career make it.
Yeah, 100
Special
yards
day
on the
for
day.
him, over 100 for the day.
30-20 the final. The Zookers go down. All right, into the SEC we go. Georgia and Auburn. Tommy Tuberville, could it be his final home game on the plains of Auburn? Seconds left. Cody Burns is going to try to throw it up for Ben Tate, but the pass falls incomplete. Auburn's defense did play well, though, and of course they got the Iron Bowl coming up to try to get bowl eligible. 17-13, Dogs hunker down. BYU and Air Force 14-10. the Fighting Falcons. Both are 5-1 in Mountain West play. Look out, could be looking ahead to Utah. North Carolina and Maryland 15-14 heels.
Carolina in the driver's seat.
Indeed. Over into the Pac-10 we go. California, Oregon State. Watch Kevin Riley with the lateral pass to Jeremy Ross. He passes to 9 Boateng. Florida transfer Boateng. 30 yards the strike. 17-14 is the Oregon State lead at this point. The Beavers need to win out, and they go to the Rose Bowl. They've got the tiebreaker with SC. Notre Dame and Navy, the game seen earlier here on CBS. Irish almost blew this game. 27-21 the final. Boise and Idaho, of all people. Watch quarterback Nathan Enderle. He completes the pass to Daniel Hardy. Now, they think they've got him down as he rolls over Kyle Ging. He never touched the ground, boys. Down the stretch he goes, 81 yards for the touchdown. And the Vandals have actually controlled this game early on, 7-0. All the precincts are yet to report. Coming up, we'll get you caught up on more of today's action, including Michigan stumbling to its first 8-loss season ever when the Geico halftime report continues. Welcome back to the Geico Halftime Report. Back to the Blitz. Well, next week, Ole Miss goes after the whole state of Louisiana. Today, they took care of the northeastern sector, 59-0. They are now bowl eligible. Clemson, how about this? Clemson's Aaron Kelly became the ACC's career leader in receptions with 217 as they pummeled Duke. Wake and NC State now tied at 14 in this topsy-turvy league. Rutgers is on a roll as they knock off South Florida. 5 turnovers for the Bulls today as Greg Schiano's team rolls. Michigan and Northwestern, Spencer. How about C.J. Bichette?
How about him wide open? That's Eric Peterman down the middle for a 53-yard touchdown pass. It's the first 8-win season since 2000 for Northwestern. First 8 losing season ever for Michigan.
Yeah, they've won 8 losses. That has never happened. How about that for Rodriguez? 21-14. Northwestern gets the win. Minnesota and Wisconsin Golden Gophers lead that one at the half, 21-7. Well, a reminder, next Saturday, Ole Miss takes on number 19 LSU. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern with TIAA Creft College football today. And the football action continues tomorrow with an NFL doubleheader. Early on, many will see the Ravens face the Giants, and later, most will see the Chargers and the Steelers. And it all begins with JB and the gang on the NFL Today. Thanks for watching the Geico Halftime Report. Coming up, the second half, and whoever's a quarterback for South Carolina against Florida. Enjoy the game, everybody.
CBS Sports presents the Geico Halftime Report. Geico.com. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Halftime in Gainesville, Florida leads it 28-3 over South Carolina. For NCIS, no mission is impossible, but this Tuesday, a traitor will compromise the whole agency. Don't miss a new episode of Tuesday's #1 show on America's most watched network, CBS. Now let's send it down to Tracy Wilson for a look at the SEC moment presented by Sonic.
Vern, in 2006, the Florida Gators took on South Carolina and their old coach, Steve Spurrier. With the score tied at 7, South Carolina's Ryan Succop's 47-yard field goal attempt was blocked by the Gators' Ray McDonald. South Carolina then took the lead late in the 4th quarter on this Mike Davis touchdown run. But the kicking woes continued for the Gamecocks as Succop had the extra point blocked by the Gators. Florida then took a 1-point lead on this Tim Tebow 12-yard run. South Carolina's Succop had a chance to win the game, but he had his 3rd kick blocked by Jarvis Moss to give the Gators the win. Meyer said of that block, that was one of the greatest plays he's ever seen. He said, it was certainly monumental in my life and our program's life. Vern?
All right, Tracy, and the Gators lead it here 28-3. We'll return with the second half from Gainesville right after this. Both teams back on the field, 28-3 Florida, and a moment ago, Tracy, again with Steve Spurrier.
Coach, going into half, you asked me who I would start at quarterback. Did you decide who you would start?
Yeah, we're gonna let them both keep playing. They're both just sort of hanging in there right now. Hopefully we can get somebody open, hit a ball or so.
So you'll continue to rotate the quarterbacks after each play?
No, they like rotating. They really do.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
The way Steven can get the play, and he doesn't get it that way half the time. So, you know, we got some issues. But hopefully we get the plays in there correctly. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
I hope he stays around for years and years and years. So there are the two, Garcia on the left, Smelly on the right. Smelly in the first half, 7 throws for 13, 7 completions out of 13, and Garcia 4 for 7. Ryan Succop will kick off, and Brandon James ready to return it. We start the third quarter. Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson, and Tracy Wolfson. Short, one hopper, goes right by Brandon James. That will be a touchback and come out to the 20-yard line, and here's Florida with a 28-3 lead. I thought Steve made a good point before they went in at halftime that his defense has played pretty darn well.
I think so, and too bad. I think if he could have it to do all over again, he'd say, let's just conservatively start this thing out, try to keep our quarterbacks from beating us early and see if our defense can hang in there. Didn't start out that way, obviously. And it is interesting. I mean, Steve's going to have to stick with him. The key word I think he said to Tracy is, it's the only way I can keep Steve in the game. He needs help. He's not there yet where he can just go play all the way. You can see what he's thinking in the future. I need to get Garcia ready for next year.
And here's Florida on first down and 10. They go left. It's Harvin. If he splits him, he might be gone. He splits him, and he is going to be gone. No flags. 80 yards. Percy Harvin. As I said 20 seconds ago, his defense was playing pretty well. But you can't deal with that kind of speed on a consistent basis. Harvin, 80 yards, extra point coming. Jonathan Phillips, Butch Rowley will hold.
Vern, same thing on 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect blocks here. We're going to get a pull. We're going to get one of them pulling across. Now you watch this. 6 blocks again. All perfect. The same exact play that Harvin scored again. You get another block right there, and then Harvin does the rest of it by beating the safeties. The same play. We used to do that when we had Billy Sims. Okay, same thing on 2. Everybody knew what it was.
Billy Sims, Percy Harvin, only a generation apart, but both pretty talented. Percy Harvin, 80-yard touchdown run. Urban Meyer said he's got the best first step in college football. The rest of them aren't bad either.
Yeah, that's right. Just imagine watching Tebow and Harvin. They're the second and third options that defense are trying to stop now.
Right.
I just keep thinking back to Bobby Johnson, coach at Vanderbilt, saying they run an inside-outside option and they pass good and they're all fast.
Here's the kickoff. Chris Culliver, who was suspended for the first half, allowed to play in the second. And he is the kickoff. And
can he play quarterback?
Oh, boy.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you know, all that bragging on the defense didn't work either, did it?
I like the way we address the topic at hand right off the bat.
Well, we can change some of these trends, or can we? Well, Tebow was Tebow-ish, didn't have to do too much, it seemed like, mine early in the year. Smelly and Garcia just could never get on track, and boy, I tell you, that turnover, I thought really the game was over as Spikes was trying to cross the line there on an interception. You can almost feel it right there, and you just can't give this team any help. They're too good.
35-3 now. It's Chris Smelly at quarterback. Comes left, caught by Jason Barnes. That is his first catch since South Carolina played LSU. And that was some time ago. So Joe Hayden makes the stop. Here's Chris Smelly from Tuscaloosa. Interesting. We asked him on the phone the other day, did you think about staying at Alabama? He said, well, they were recruiting this guy named Tebow.
Right.
He said, so I committed to South Carolina. Then Tebow, of course, decided to come to Florida. Did they come back? He said, yeah, they did.
But it was too late.
Too late.
Mike Shula was recruiting Tebow and had a pretty good shot at him, we understand.
Yes, he did. That's a second down carry. Well, how about those quarterback recruits. Tebow, Stafford, Mitch Mustain, who's now disappeared at Southern California, Demetrius Jones at Notre Dame, Jevon Sneed, who's now at Ole Miss, Jake Locker injured and out of the picture at Washington, and Juice Williams. That's a pretty talented group.
Yes,
but isn't it amazing how things work out?
Well, it seemed to me like, Stafford committed early, so Tebow was the linchpin there. Where he went determined everybody else.
Jevon Sneed.
Right.
Yep. First down. Here's Smelly. That one's out and caught by Mo Brown, number 9, and that will be a first down for South Carolina. It's a gain of 13. Brandon Hicks, number 40, made the tackle. Chris Melly, this is 4 plays in a row, a new outdoor record.
Yeah, and all that talking to Tracy, and he did something else.
I'm shocked. First down and 10. Here's the audible by Chris Smelly. Blitz coming from Brandon Spikes. The pass is out. McKinley tripped up. He lost a yard. Kenny McKinley with his 5th catch. He had a season high last week. Garcia still on the bench. This will be the 5th consecutive play. And Justin Tratto with pressure on that last one, number 94.
Well, South Carolina wants to win one more game. To me, they got that Clemson game, so they got to just kind of think of this game, forget the scoreboard, and just try to establish themselves and kind of get righted for that Clemson game here.
South Carolina had come in winners in 6 of its last 7. 4-man rush. Smelly under pressure, finds McKinley. He's got a chance for the first down, gets it, and scoots out of bounds. And that gives us a moment to spend with Tim Brando in New York.
Vern, we were thinking here in New York, given the circumstances you're facing, time to break out an outside fly in the ointment. Boise State goes up 14-7 at Idaho. Kyle Wilson returns a punt 79 yards for a score. They're on the road, no Smurf turf, but they now have the lead they were behind. Back to you.
I take it from the tone of your comments, Tim, that you think we are in need of help, that our bucket is not full.
Has anybody on TV ever said no back to you, Tim? Has that ever been said before? No, keep it. Keep it.
Just you and Spencer just fill a little.
Well, you can see, the air's gone out of this Florida defense a little bit, but the rhythmic passing. Spurrier's offense is rhythmic, anticipatory passing. It's the first time in this game they've looked like a Spurrier offense.
And it's the 7th consecutive play with Smelly at quarterback. That one opens up. It's Mike Davis. And a first down at the 27-yard line. The tackle made by Ahmad Black and Will Hill. Gain of 14.
Well, you just wondered if the old ball coach kind of second guesses himself. Stephen Garcia, Stevie's got a good future, but I think according to Spurrier, he's not ready. We need to help him with the plays and call the plays. And now you're looking at maybe Smelly was the best option here, Had that awful first pass, though, and I think that just kind of rushed the whole system back in force.
Play fake, Smelly back, steps up, goes deep right side. His man is open, but it's tipped away. Nice recovery. That was Janoris Jenkins, number 29, who stepped in front of the pass and knocked it loose.
See, that kind of being able to keep your wits about you, Jenkins, true freshman, keeping his eye on the ball, doesn't go cause pass interference or anything, doesn't just kind of lose where he's at on the field and goes and knocks down the ball. Jenkins and Joe Hayden, back-to-back years, 2 playmakers at corner. I think these 2 corners are better than the 2 corners that Florida had when they won the national championship.
That was 2 years ago, 2006. Out of the spread, Smelly. Left side, behind Joe Hills. It's incomplete. Well, that national championship team in 2006 used the win in this game to propel themselves through the remainder of the season. How about the comparison? Both teams are 8-1. But look, Gary, on the right side, the average margin of victory.
That and turnover. That's why that 35 points is like that. But this is just has more. This team has way more weapons. That team with Chris Leak, Urban Meyer was forced to play it close to the vest. This team is wide open.
South Carolina yet to complete a third down conversion. It's 3rd and 10. Into the corner, double coverage down there. That one will be incomplete, and it will be 4th down.
I don't think Mo Brown thought he was going to get the football. He just kind of gave up on the play. He thought he was covered. I think he thought the quarterback was going to go somewhere else with it. Look at Brown, slows down. See, he never saw the ball, and he was lucky that thing wasn't picked off by Jenkins. Mo, you got to play the whole thing out.
Ryan Suckup from 44 yards out. He hit one from 41 earlier. It hooks but cuts just inside the left upright. And Suckup hits his 2nd field goal to give South Carolina 6 points. 10-17 to go, 3rd quarter. Florida leads. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, the Home Depot, Taco Bell, and by New York Life. We're back in Gainesville, and don't forget, later in the game tonight, the 5-star play of the game presented by Wrangler. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field. And a full house at the beginning of the game. Rain as we started, but it has subsided. Florida leads it 35-6. Brandon James awaits the kickoff of Ryan Suckup. Returnable from the 3. Down at the 17. Thursday on CBS, the miracles of science are about to go too far. Don't miss a new episode of Thursday's #1 show, 11th hour, after CSI on CBS, America's most watched network.
Well, there's so many little subplots going here right now in this football game. You got Tebow trying to repeat as Heisman Trophy winner. You got style points. You got, you don't want to pull guys out too early because next week you might not get too much work against Citadel. You got Florida State sitting there in the middle of everything. It's just interesting how Urban will kind of approach this thing. He doesn't like to take his foot off the gas.
I've noticed that over the years. Noticed that at Georgia. Well, Urban Meyer started his coaching career as a head coach at Bowling Green 2 years, then Utah 2 years. His quarterback was Alex Smith, and now in his 4th season at Florida.
Look at the difference in plays with the new clock rules. You're getting it, and it's almost like every team is about the same. You get about from 59 to 62 plays. Florida's got 61. That 4 years ago, 73 plays. The points almost exactly. That's how explosive this offense was. Imagine giving Florida 12 more plays. That's 20% more offense they could have.
Low snap. Tebow picks it up, throws it behind the receiver, and boy, does he open him up. My gosh. That was David Nelson, number 83, and he says, no thanks. Ouch.
Well, I'll tell you, Carl Monroe didn't do him any favors right here, number 16, and boy, did he get lit up on. You were exactly right. You got to protect your guy, and his fellow receiver right there, the other guy in the picture, did not help at all, and Darian Stewart just blew him up. He plays that spur. He's kind of that 4-2-5 look that they have on this team. They've got actually 5 defensive backs in the game all the time.
3rd down and 2. Tebow sends Harvin in motion, and he'll carry it left side. Got a first down out to the 31-yard line. Chris Culliver, number 17, and we mentioned that Culliver was involved in a in a fight at the end of the Arkansas game last week. Ejected from that game. That leads to an automatic 1/2 game suspension. Steve Spurrier had Culliver address the media on Monday and apologize. And Steve said, I don't understand. He was throwing punches at a helmet.
That's right. Said it was selfish. It was the end of the game. It was just kind of lost his head there.
He's back. Emmanuel Moody is on, number 21. Ran for a lot of yards toward the end of the Georgia game.
That was funny.
And they'll throw on first down. Tebow, oh boy, beautiful underneath. And the catch to the 42-yard line. Louis Murphy, number 9. That's a gain of 25.
It's almost like feed the fish, you know. Okay, who didn't I feed? All right, we haven't fed Louis Murphy in a while, so let's sprinkle a little his way. Beautiful skinny post, right, Tom? Ball perfectly thrown. Now, you know, there's no doubt that Tim has plenty of arm. It's the rhythm of being a quarterback that he needs to work on. But because his arm is strong enough to play, you know, there's only one level above him, and he can throw it hard enough. Can he do all the little things to be a quarterback?
Did you notice the block by Percy Harvin at the end of the play? And Harvin is faked, and now Tebow, they'll bring this one back. This is a pre-snap penalty.
Because that last pass by Tebow hit Murphy right in the face mask. That's exactly where you want to throw it.
Before the snap, false start, number 76 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Now Percy Harvin, a standout today and all season long.
It started the game with the reverse. Remember, the option going left, he comes back right. There's the first play, the counter trap. There's the second play, the counter, the same play, 2 touchdowns.
First down 15. Whoa! Nathan Pepper popped one of the Pouncey twins. Knocked him off balance. There we go.
Before the snap, offsides, number 95 on the defense, contact, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
See, Tebow simulated the snap and then was going to turn to the bench to get another play or get confirmation that the play that was on was going to be the one that ran. So it's back where they started.
Now the Pouncey twins from Lakeland, Florida, one of the juggernaut high school teams in this state. And of course, high school football in this state is as good as it gets in the country. First down and 10. Tebow hands it off to Harvin. He works hard, spins.
Yeah, I think that one was Demps that time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're all fast. Now, Harvin, we just showed all his highlights running the ball, but he stays in the game and doesn't take a play off when somebody else catches the ball. He's going to be a Reggie Bush type player in the NFL, you know, where you could put him, slot him out, put him in the backfield occasionally. You know, Felix Jones is doing that now over with the Dallas Cowboys. Michael Westbrook, that's the type of back he's going to be.
I hope the plane just flew through a cloud, and that's why the screen went dark. I think so. Here's Tebow with a block. This is Demps. Touchdown.
Pick your poison. And I'm not talking about the defense. I'm talking about Dan Mullen. Pick any guy you want. They all work. Steve says right now, so this is how it felt all those years as I was on the other sideline. This play should have got nothing.
And yet when Jeffrey Demps, who was clocked in a 10.02 100-meter dash last spring, fastest time by a high schooler ever, when he got into the open, it was all over.
I mean, it's kind of amazing what Florida's doing in the Southeast Conference. I mean, everybody says this defense. Now they're going to get the zone read inside. Tebow kind of carries it out. Nothing's there. Should be stopped. Tebow's there, kind of says, all right, I'll look around. I'll find somebody, fit in one little block right there, and springs the play for Demps to just cut inside for another touchdown.
Florida's rolling, 42-6. Not a whole lot to crow about. Not at all. Alabama and Florida in the SEC championship game. That'll be Saturday, December 6th. Our whole crew will be in Atlanta for that one. The Alabama Crimson Tide, #1 now for 2 weeks in a row. There's Jeffrey Demps, who just scored. He has 5 touchdowns this year, every one of them on a run in excess of 35 yards.
Well, I'm not taking anything for granted. I mean, but do you think that if Texas Tech loses to Oklahoma, Florida will move to #2?
Crossed my mind. Crossed my mind.
Because they just are a lot of people right now talking around the country that they're playing better than anyone. Now, a lot of people also want to give credit to the Big 12, too.
Right. And credit is deserved.
It really doesn't matter to the other teams. You know, one of the two, Alabama or Florida, if they win out, are going to be in the championship.
I find it interesting that you might remember, I know you do, Gary, that emotional speech from Tim Tebow in the aftermath of the loss at Ole Miss. As it turns out, that's been their inspiration for this run they're on, and it's the greatest run for Florida since '96.
Yeah.
When they run 6 in a row big. But if it turns out the loss really is irrelevant.
Well, actually, maybe even the other way. It might have helped them. It might have been the impetus they needed to actually reach their potential.
Bobby Wallace is in at running back now, number 22. And Wallace makes a reception on first down. Jermaine Cunningham with the tackle. Well, Tim Tebow had that inspirational meeting with the media 45 minutes after the loss. He had to compose himself and then actually lost his composure when he said things will not be the same. And look at his numbers since. The bottom line, 70%, 12 touchdowns, 46 rushing yards per game, and 9 rushing touchdowns. Steven Garcia is in now as the quarterback. Play fake, under pressure, rolls right, and fires into triple coverage, and it's incomplete.
Boy, is this defense aggressive. Holy cow. No, they're just, anything that moves, they're just all over it.
Now, Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator, started his coaching career here. He graduated from Central Arkansas State. He was a GA, and then he came back and he worked under Steve Spurrier. Wound up going to Notre Dame with Lou Holtz, moved there to South Carolina, and came back in 2003. One, as Spurrier says, one of the best coordinators in college football. On third down, draw play, Wallace. It'll be fourth down. And let's go back to the studio for this Liberty Mutual update. Here's Tim.
All right, Vernon, the ACC, North Carolina State goes back on top against Wake. In the fourth, it's now 21-17. Russell Wilson throws an 8-yard strike to Anthony Hill. There are 9 teams mathematically eligible, fellas, to win the ACC. Back to you.
Well, the reason you get highly paid is so you can sort all that out, Tim.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the look at the future there, folks. That's what these conferences are going to look like.
Fourth down, Spencer Lanning. That one is low. Brandon James at the 15.
Well, they got good coverage, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Boy,
but he's pretty good, too.
Man.
Watch out. One man to beat. He's caught from behind.
Man.
Patrick DeMarco saves the touchdown.
I'll tell you, I just keep coming back to the way we talked in the open. They're like a perfect storm.
Brandon James, number 25. You could make a case that he's as valuable as any player on this Florida football team. In the SEC East, Florida about to go to 7-1. South Carolina about to drop to 4-4. Out west, Alabama, they play tonight against Mississippi State, and they're currently undefeated, ranked number 1 in the country. Last year, they were number 1 in regular season. Go back 28 years, 1980, they lost to Mississippi State 6-3, and until this season, they were never number 1 national title in '92. Here's Tebow. He goes deep. He's got Harvin, and oh my gosh, he had Riley Cooper open down there as well. Well, we have 2 ultra competitive coaches in this game. Urban Meyer, who's been known to call a timeout in the Georgia game to just let it sink in that it was 49-10. On the other side, You've got Steve Spurrier, who when he was the coach at Florida, played at Georgia and put up 50-plus points and said, well, nobody's ever hung a half 100 on him there.
I just got a feeling that Steve just would not respect Urban if he didn't try to go for 50 on him. Do you think? He's going to say, come on, I started a tradition in Florida. You got to follow the tradition.
2nd down and 10. South Carolina rushes 3. The pass a little high, but it's caught by Deontay Thompson, number 6. 30 points against each SEC regular season opponent's first time in school history. We had a chance to chat with him yesterday. Talked about that Georgia game. They're up 49-10, and he called timeout twice in the last minute. And he said, then I just wanted to get Emmanuel Moody a chance to play.
Right, but when we talked to Tebow and the Pounceys, they said they loved it. They said the coach found a way to answer back. They admitted Georgia called him out, and they thought the coach came up with a great way to answer back.
Tebow said, well, he called timeout. It's within the rules. And it made a point. And here's Tebow. The flag is down. This one's going to come back. Matter of fact, there might be reason to suspect that Tebow talked Urban Meyer on the sidelines into calling timeout.
He intimated that, didn't he? He said, I talked to coach, I looked at the score and said,
Holding, number 76 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat 3rd down.
That wasn't the way that was supposed to come out.
Perfect timing.
He said, Coach, I don't know. We're just kind of speculating. But the team, I asked the guys, did the Brandon Spikes hit on Marino fire you up more, or the 2 timeouts at the end? And they said we loved them both.
Yep.
Now, the only thing I mean, we do have to bring up running Tebow in the middle of the line. I mean, is this not a time maybe not get him out of the game yet, but be very judicious on how you use him?
This is Jeff Demps, who's now alongside Tebow. Oh, watch out. There's exactly what you're talking about.
Right. You got to be very, very careful that he cannot go into the Florida State game or Alabama game nicked.
This is Eric Norwood. And so it'll be 4th down. Chaz Henry is on to punt. Kenny McKinley deep. Fair catch. They'll let that one bounce into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20-yard line, and now a flag is thrown at the 5. See what we've got here. Whatever we got, it's caused a discussion.
The receiver gave a fair catch signal and then blocked. That's an illegal block on the receiving team. That penalty will be enforced at the spot of the foul, half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10.
That's Kenny McKinley. Here's the fair catch signal. Boom.
Yep. Great call.
And so South Carolina will begin from the 10-yard line.
I had my glasses on Tebow that whole, actually even during the punt, I really wasn't watching, to be honest. And Tim does not like to sit down on the bench. He told us that a while ago. He likes to stay in the game. He puts the headset on. I was just checking him to see if he was sore or limping or anything, because he got ripped a couple good times in that last series.
And the answer?
Seems fine.
1st down and 10. Smelly is the quarterback. Backs in the eye. Mike Davis gets the handoff. Comes left. And he is, actually it's at the 5-yard line, not the 10. And let's check in with Tracy Wolfson.
Well, guys, Urban Meyer does a State of the Union address every week to talk about where his team is and what their goals are. Well, this week, with the SEC East locked up, he mentioned for the first time this year the national championship picture. He said it's appropriate now. You can't ignore it, but there is no reason to dwell on it. He said, here's the schedule. Here's what you need to do, and now let's move on, because if we don't, we will get beaten. Guys, expect him to reiterate that message every week until after the SEC championship.
On second down, Smelly goes right side, and it's incomplete, intended for Jason Barnes. That'll bring up third down.
And I think what Tracy was also talking about is Urban went on and say, you know, I'd rather me tell them than them hearing it from their uncle what all the possibilities are. So, you know, I might as well deal with it. We know everyone's talking about it, so I tell them what it is, and that way they aren't hearing it from 12 other people. They just kind of, now it's funny. Tebow, when we talked to him, he said, we just kind of roll our eyes. Coach does that all the time, you know.
3rd and 10 from the 5. Smelly still in at quarterback. 4-man rush from the end zone, comes left, dropped by Jared Cook. It'll be 4th down. So the Gators are going to come out of this with terrific field position, and they've got the always dangerous Brandon James urging the crowd on as he walks out to the 50-yard line.
Right. Well, when you turn the ball over the way South Carolina has in this game, you're giving up big plays, and you're 0 for 11 on 3rd down. It gets to be 42-6.
Spencer Lanning on to punt yet again. This is his 8th punt of the ball game. See if the pressure is coming. They blocked 5 this year. They've got the return on, and it's a very poor punt. They might get a decent bounce out of this. James dangerously picks it out of the air and is popped at the 40-yard line by Emmanuel Cook.
You know, when you said he might be the most valuable player on the team, I think that was the case in the first 5 games when Florida was trying to find itself. When they put Rainey and Demps in the backfield, it changed everything. Now he's just another attacking piece.
Nice to have a guy who's returned 2 for touchdowns as just a part of the puzzle,
right.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, like their chessboard for Florida. I mean, they got two queens. You know, Percy Harvin and Tebow. They can go anywhere. Then they got all these rooks and bishops. They don't have any pawns. It's not fair.
They ought to come up and work in this booth. We'll show them a few. 1st down and 10. Up the middle. Emmanuel Moody, number 21, who began his collegiate career at Southern Cal. Marvin Sapp with the tackle. Now, early in this game, here was Brandon Spikes with the return. That may have been the play. Here's Ahmad Black with another interception. And they tried this lateral on the kickoff. James Smith was there. It looked like he was in for a touchdown. Play was overruled, and they were a foot out, but they got the touchdown. Second down. Right side. Harvin out of bounds. That's his shortest run of the ball game. And he's a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Here's a tough call right here. And I'm not surprised Emmanuel Moody's coming in the game, because if I'm Florida right now, I'm not going to run Tebow inside. It's just not worth it.
Got Moody behind him on 3rd and less than a yard. I don't know. See about the spot. I think he's going to be short. Crowd thinks he's going to be short as well, and they're urging him to.
Yeah, I think Carl Johnson's down on the field too. They're starting left guard.
Yeah, it is. Johnson, who has battled injuries throughout the year.
He's right here at left guard. Let's see, he comes in, and the dreaded from behind fall in the back of his leg. Troutline pushed his man right into the back of him.
Carl Johnson, a redshirt sophomore out of Durham, North Carolina.
And what did Urban tell us? That since he's been here, this is what he envisioned his offensive line blocking like.
They said this year the offensive line is playing like the University of Florida offensive line should. Very physical, Gary, aren't they?
And veteran, too.
Yep. Well, Dr. Pete Indelicato is out there to help administer whatever assistance might be necessary. The BCS top 10. And here is the lineup. Mississippi State, Alabama tonight. Tech off. Texas defeated Kansas.
So what do you think is going to happen there, Vern? If Oklahoma beats Texas Tech, which is not a given. Okay?
No, you're right.
We know if Texas Tech wins, I mean, they're in.
Right.
But if Oklahoma wins,
they
got to win out. I mean, they control their destiny.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
But I mean, if Oklahoma wins, should they vault Texas? Texas beat them on a neutral field.
Right.
Why do we vote? They already played each other.
Harvin on 4th down. First down at the 20.
I don't get why I don't know why you would ever vote on this.
Well, I'm amazed.
Right?
I've heard conversations now that Oklahoma, if they beat Tech, deserves to be placed in front of Texas. Pardon me?
Right. I say, this is the thing we're trying to avoid in college football is these votes. It's now Oklahoma fans are saying, look, we beat Cincinnati. Look how well they're doing. We beat TCU. Yeah, but Texas played at Texas Tech.
Lost by 1.
Right. And now, what if Oklahoma slaughters them? What if they beat them by 30? People will want to vote them, but they played each other.
There's Tebow. Got him at the 5. That's Lewis Murphy. It's 1st and goal.
How can we impose our thoughts over two teams that have already played on a neutral field? Here's the inside post again to Murphy. Spread a little food over to Murphy. He always lines up to the weak side of the formation. Gets a lot of one-on-one coverage, and he's a big play threat over there.
The best thing about the BCS are the discussions it forces.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the best
thing. It has made it a national sport.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. But there's a part of me that wishes it would blow up.
Well, it ain't gonna.
I know. I understand. I heard that. I heard negotiations are underway. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The score is 42-6. We'll return to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium after this word from your local station. One of the traditions here at the University of Florida at the end of the 3rd quarter. Everybody embraces and they sing "We Are the Boys," and they have been today. 1st and goal now as we begin the 4th. And Florida with Tim Tebow at quarterback. 42-6. Into the corner of the end zone. Hernandez. Great catch. Aaron Hernandez over Eric Norwood. His 3rd touchdown catch of the day.
And option number 8 or 9 on this football team.
And the Florida Gators are within 1, or about to be.
Oh, go for 2.
Phillips, they are now within 1 of hanging half 100 on Steve Spurrier's team.
And Tebow keeps his record for 4th quarter passing alive. He was 8 for 8. Now he's 9 for 9.
So we begin the 4th as we begin the 3rd. Florida touchdown.
And now it's time for our Geico scoring recap.
There are wagers being made in the booth, but I can't get through this without an error. Here's Brandon Spikes, 12 yards. Touchdown, 7-0. Percy Harvin, 26-yard touchdown run. Florida by 14. Tebow, 1-yard run. Florida 21-0. Tebow, 46-yard pass. 28-0. South Carolina on the board. Succop from 41. Percy Harvin, first play, 3rd quarter. 80-yard touchdown run, 35-3.
Don't choke now.
Ryan Succop, another field goal, 44 yards.
You want more?
Demps, 38-yard touchdown run, 42-6. And And Aaron Hernandez, 5-yard touchdown reception. 49-6,
yeah,
baby boys.
My man.
Oh, gracious. So Tebow hits Hernandez. Has a little chat with Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
One of these days, we're going to see Meyer relax and smile.
No, you're not.
No,
I don't
never.
think so. He was a little different upbringing. He was in the non-smile group of coaches. Lou and Earl Bruce and those guys.
Yeah.
Smile on your summer vacation.
Yeah, he does bring a sense of purpose to
intensity.
All this. Yeah, intensity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good word.
And you know what? He's got a really good staff here. I mean, he really does. He added Dan McCarney to the staff. Vance Badford from Michigan to coach the defensive backs. Right. I mean, those two guys have really made the staff better, more aggressive. And, now the problem for them is, how do you kind of take the edge off of this game but not lose this run you're on? You don't want to slow down. I mean, this team's hitting as good as you can. So it's easy problem.
Well, you made the point earlier. It'll be intriguing to watch how he approaches the remainder of the night. And they're up 49-6 right now. This is Steven Garcia, comes right. He's very adept. There's a little push out of bounds. Nothing illegal about it. Garcia, we mentioned, is from Tampa, from suburban Tampa, played his high school ball there, and had some very serious off-the-field difficulties early in his career. Said he's thankful they didn't kick him out of school, and settled down. He finally played earlier this year in Georgia, had missed 2 spring trainings, and he is the future at quarterback of this football team. Very gifted, but a little undisciplined, and Spurrier quick to say he's not very dedicated right now. There's the handoff out to the 44-yard line. Well, South Carolina is bowl eligible. You can see that they've got this game today. Then they have an off week and prepare for the traditional intense rivalry, the battle at Clemson.
Yeah, you remember they started out so well last year, rated in the top 10, where I think they were 6-2, if I remember right, and ended up 6-6. Did not go to a bowl game.
Lost their last 5. Third down. Garcia is in for the 3rd consecutive play. Here's the stunts, and Garcia up under pressure.
Those are too fast.
It'll be 4th down. Justin Tratto, number 94, got there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, Michael Vick-ish type to get away from these type of guys for Florida. Decent protection to start with. Step inside, and then it's all over. I'll tell you who's having a game today. Brandon Hicks, number 40, is having a good football game. He's, listed as a backup on every depth chart. He's really playing football.
Brandon James back, awaiting Spencer Lanning's punt. James with the fair catch. Grabs it, 23-yard line. Little exchange of pleasantries. Here's Smelly and Steve Spurrier. I'm not buying that. The Home Depot SEC on CBS is sponsored by Chick-fil-A, Liberty Mutual, the all-new Dodge Ram, and by Chili's. Flying high above, MetLife is providing aerial coverage of today's game, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and you can see some empty seats now. Locals feeling quite secure with a 49-6 lead. Tim Tebow is on the bench, and John Brantley, the redshirt freshman from Ocala, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception this year, and he will go the distance, I assume. On first down, it's Brantley. Gives it up the middle. Chris Rainey, number 3. Well, Tim Tebow, a year ago in this South Carolina game, he accounted for 7 touchdowns and really, really propelled himself into the front of the Heisman Trophy discussion tonight. 13 of 20, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 1. Kind of modest numbers,
right?
But he's very much in the discussion.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I think Colt McCoy probably would have locked this thing up had that last pass not been completed by Texas Tech.
Graham Harrell to Michael Crabtree.
You got it. Now, I think it's Graham Harrell's to hold on to, and if he beats Oklahoma, I think he's going to win this thing. But that's easier said than done, to beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma. And slowly now, if there's going to be 2 big high-profile games that Tebow is going to get into. But you got Tebow's stats this year compared to last year, and those are the guys right there. It's probably going to be one of those 4. You know, Bradford's obviously still alive because Tebow could lose. I mean, you know, a game here before they get there. But I think those are the 4 guys. And I have a tendency to believe that if Texas Tech gets knocked off and Tebow beats Florida State in a real high-profile game and beats Alabama, because he will beat Tebow. It's not like he's not going to show up. I think he's going to win this thing again.
On first down and 10. There's a handoff up the middle. It's there's a flag thrown for a face mask. Chris Rainey was the ball carrier.
No, he does not have the stats as the other guys. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, and he's got more competition this year than last year, I think. You know, last year he pretty much had the thing all along, even though he lost 3 games going into that vote.
Of course, if this team does win out,
they will have beaten the #1 team in the country, maybe in that game.
And think back to the only other man who doubled up, or Archie Griffin doubled up and had lesser numbers his second time as a winner than he did his first.
And Ohio State made a run and went into the Rose Bowl that year. So that's what'll happen. You'll get those teams, those voters that say, listen, you know, the stats are great for the other guys, but this guy led his team into the national championship.
Emmanuel Moody is in the quarterback. Here's Brantley. Oh, boy.
Oh, he's got a rifle. Boy, I'll tell you, Brant, what a great future Brantley has. Now let's go look back at Archie. Archie won it his junior and senior year.
74 and 75.
Yeah, his second year was nowhere near his, at least with touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty close in yards, and he carried the team. You can see how many times he carried the ball. It's a tough decision this year. I got to say, I mean, you know, it might come down to just one easy thing. The guys out in the Midwest, I mean, in the Big 12 might cancel each other out with votes.
Well, Michael Crabtree is going to get some votes, too. And especially if Tech wins out.
Well, that should have been a give. Brantley has got the read on that. He can give it or keep it. And I'm sure he's out there trying to show that he can run the ball a little bit.
Clifton Gathers and Shaq Wilson collaborate for the tackle. John Brantley at Ocala. 99 touchdown passes, the most in high school football history in the state of Florida. Look who was second. Well, there was a tie, Tebow and Xavier Lee. 6 defensive backs in now for South Carolina on 3rd and 14. Brantley is a redshirt freshman. Carolina will bring 4. Moody popped as he gets to the 46. It'll be 4th down. Let's check in with Tracy Wolfson.
Well, guys, Florida's offensive line came in banged up, and now they've lost right tackle Jason Watkins earlier this half to a concussion, and left guard Carl Johnson re-injured that right MCL he sprained last week. He is out, and his backup Jim Tart is playing with a shoulder injury.
All right, Tracy, that is almost a chronic shoulder problem for Jim Tart, the senior. On 4th down. Kenny McKinley is back. This one very poor and bounces out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Oh, we got a little John going on. Keyston Moore, number 33, and Chris Hall, number 29, were the participants. No flags.
I think there was.
Oh, there is. Yeah, you're right.
There was.
Yep.
Keyston Moore is going to get called.
This will be a coaching point.
We got to have something to do tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Vote in the coaches poll, which is kind of interesting. Here's Keyston Moore out of Arlington, Texas. We'll discuss this. 2 years ago, in 2006, Urban Meyer chose not to vote in the coaches poll.
After the play, personal foul, number 33, against Florida. That'll be a 15-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
I'm going to take a look at it. 33 to the right.
He was upset because he did something to Major Wright when he was down on the ground, and he was trying to protect his own teammate, but it cost him 15 yards.
Urban Meyer, Percy Harvin on the Florida sideline with Florida 49-6. And this, of course, one of the components of the BCS is the Harris Interactive and the coaches poll.
Right.
Those are the two human components. And in the coaches poll, Meyer is voting this year. Bob Stoops of Oklahoma is not, my understanding.
And it makes up a portion of the determinant. The interesting part is it's going to determine perhaps who plays in the Big 12 championship.
Right.
Because the highest ranked team in the BCS will go. Now, here's the interesting thing. The coaches do not have to put their name on the coaches poll in the second to last vote. That's going to be the one that determines who's in it. They only have to put their name in the last one.
Can you mention Jim Tressel? Took an El Paso.
No, I think he should have, though. I've really
decided
backed him on
to go to the Sun Bowl.
I think he was right.
Pass over the middle. It's complete, but it'll be 3rd down. Catch by Eric Baker.
I thought Tressel was right, not voting the team he plays in the national championship. There you go. If it all ends up with those 3 tied, you got to go all the way down to number 5. Highest BCS ranking, excuse me, at the end of the regular season.
3rd down.
There'll be some interesting voting there,
Oh,
and we won't know who does it. We only know on the last one.
$49-6 is the score. Here's Garcia. Watch out from behind. He steps out of that tackle and is pushed out of bounds. Does Tim know? I know he has an opinion. Does he know?
I'm just trying to keep up with the ACC right now, Vern, please. Wait down 4. Riley Skinner's looking for Marshall Williams. This could win it. Oh, he dropped it. Now, in addition to that, look at this score. Maryland up on North Carolina, still time remaining. Florida State obviously has a lot at stake when they play BC tonight with 5 wide receivers out. And as far as the coaches poll goes, Oklahoma's already ranked ahead of Texas. And oh, by the way, they lost to them. Why even have a coaches poll?
Very good. Here's Garcia being chased from behind, and he's got it on 4th down. That'll be a 1st down.
Number 5, Stephen Garcia carries. Tackled by number 34.
McCray was chasing him. And it'll be 1st down and 10.
Well, it gets a little goofy when you start thinking about coaches from other conferences get to determine who plays in your championship.
And seriously, how many games can coaches watch?
No, right.
How informed can they be?
I have a feeling, though, just like when Florida leapfrogged Michigan, nobody's really paying attention that Oklahoma's ahead of Texas now. When it matters is when they'll change it.
Jared Cook was open. It's intercepted. This is Will Hill, number 10, his first interception in a Florida uniform. The freshman from West Orange, New Jersey. Now, would you like to go back and see Steve Spurrier?
Yeah. Will Hill is about 40 yards away from this receiver when the ball is thrown, and you can see that you feel the guy's going to be open here. I mean, I don't blame him. Now watch, we run the play a little bit here. Now, Will Hill's way in the back right here, and up goes the receiver. He's going to break to the top. Now, there it is. Here's the guy that Here's the guy that makes the play. Here's the ball being thrown there. Now, watch. 40 to 45-yard throw. Will Hill breaks in on it. It was an underthrown ball, and that's what happened.
Ouch. Most of the crowd, well, half of them, more than half, has headed for the exits, 49-6. And after the 4th South Carolina turnover, here's John Brantley and the Gators. with a first down and 10 at the 43. Bumble at the backfield, or a fumble, not a bumble.
Both.
Yeah, it was both. You're absolutely
yes.
right. Thank you. Which is a perfect segue.
He botched it and fumbled it. It's a fumble.
No, speaking of, Lundquist will now read this. Red Lobster presents today's Scholar Athlete. It's Jonathan Phillips.
We go from Bumble to Scholar Athlete.
Absolutely. We cover all the bases here. 3.25 finance major, graduated last May, was actually accepted for law school. Red Lobster's commitment to the investment of our future is shown today by donating $1,000 to the University of Florida's General Scholarship Fund. No Bumble here. Chris Rainey.
Man, look at that.
A little spin move.
Do you know Don Meredith?
I do. Very
really
well.
Did?
Yes.
That was when I grew up on Monday Night Football, I just loved him. When would he been singing in this game?
Oh.
Right after the first interception almost?
Well, I think those 21 points.
Right, the third, the throwback lateral right there, right?
Don Meredith, I was lucky enough to work in Dallas when he played. And he was one of those guys who professed to never, ever watch television or read the newspapers. And we were on a Cowboy bus going to a game in Philadelphia. And he looked, I was with Meredith, for crying out loud, right? It's third down here. And Florida has the ball.
I figure the people watching now want some story.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Here's Rainey.
Going again. Wow.
I'm never going to finish the Meredith story. Addison Williams, number 7, picked it up.
It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Harvin, Demps, and Rainey. Harvin had 2 touchdown runs. Demps had his. And now Rainey, who's probably the best dodger of them all. Look at these guys. Rainey, high school teammates with the Pounceys, right?
Yep, that's right. Lived with the family for a while. Well, Florida might be on the verge of hanging half a hundred on them. Deontay Thompson goes wide right. Rainey, redshirt Florida out of Jackson, redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville. Has it. Got it. Touchdown. Three-yard run.
Boy, this offensive line, you don't even talk about the offensive line. An offensive line that actually, when they won the national championship, a lot of people thought they were a liability.
Yes. Well, here's when you know you've scored enough. Your backup place kicker is in. Caleb Sturgis, number 19. A hug for Chris Rainey. 56-6. Steve Spurrier, when he was a coach at Florida, very famously hung half a hundred on Georgia in Athens, and he said, why'd you go for it? Well, nobody's ever hung half a hundred on them here. Well, the previous high, 51 last season against Florida, and 56 today. Here is the kick. It's Greg Tausig, number 47, and the catch is made by Chris Culliver, number 17, comes right. And we welcome back to our broadcast Tim Brando in New York.
I thought you'd never ask, Vern. Maryland beats North Carolina here as Cameron Sexton is picked off by Jamari McCullough. Now listen to this. Miami now controls its own destiny in the Coastal, and every team in the ACC except Maryland, Florida State, and Miami have at least 3 conference losses. And as for the BCS fellas, President-elect Obama will one day figure it all out for us. Back to you.
Well, at least he's on our side and insisting on a playoff. First down and 10. Here's the snap back, and Garcia goes left. Because I know America's waiting for the finish to this story, which now is beyond a point. We were riding in a bus. It was my first year in Dallas, and Meredith was Don Meredith. And he looks across at me, and he said, I'm going to tell you, son, I grew up in Mount Vernon. I don't watch television. I don't listen to the radio, and I don't read the newspapers. But my mom and dad, Jeff and Hazel, watch you all the time. And they said, you're a pretty good kid, so that's good enough for me.
Good enough for you.
Aren't you glad that we
That's
waited
right.
for that one?
Well, I'll agree with Dandy Don.
This is a no, it's not a lateral. Let's save ourselves and go down to Tracy.
Yeah, here's Florida's version of the party's over. You know they're in good shape when defensive coordinator Dan Mullen has vacated the booth and has come down to the sideline. He's having a good time just chatting it up with Tebow. We talked to him about that yesterday. He said he loves it down here at the end of the game, but he is still working. He said he's coaching John Brantley from the sidelines right now. He said it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
All right, Trace.
We kidded Dan yesterday. He's the equivalent of Urban Meyer's Red Auerbach cigar. When Dan comes down, the game's over.
Here's Garcia. Pulls up and lets it go incomplete. Well, Dan and Megan Mullen expecting their first child in February, and his father, Bob Mullen, is down here watching the Florida Gators play. Dan, who was a tight end at Ursinus College, the Ursinus Bears. Mom's back home in Manchester, very involved in the Manchester Ballet, and he said these 6-day picks that CBS makes are really causing havoc on the Nutcracker rehearsal schedules.
Oh, gee.
4th down, timeout. My bag is about to get empty.
Well, that was a good one deep in the crevice there about Dandy Don.
Inside the NFL is now on Showtime every Wednesday. Join JB, Phil Simms, Warren Sapp, and Chris Collinsworth for all the best in highlights, insights, and more. Wednesday only on Showtime. Tonight on CBS, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn star in the network television premiere of Wedding Crashers, followed by a new edition of 48 Hours Mystery. That is tonight on CBS.
I know you never get the game that you're kind of supposed to get. It never happens. But if Alabama and Florida goes undefeated the rest of the way, now there's guys standing in the way. What a monster.
Yeah, there might be some attention paid to that one. Rainey is back to return the punt, but he's going to let this one come to a rest at the 15-yard line. Well, Gary, you started out this afternoon talking about.
They do. They just can do it in so many different ways. The defense not only stops you, but makes plays with guys all over the field that run. The special teams are coming up with big plays, whether it's on the return teams or the coverage team. Of course, they got playmakers all over this team. When you see Deontay Thompson start making plays, he's not even the first wave of guys. What a football team. Since the move of Demps and Rainey into the backfield, this offense has exploded.
Remember, they were on the road and not very effective early at Arkansas. And then these two kids, Demps and Rainey, ran for 103 each in that game, and they haven't looked back.
They're averaging rushing since then in 6 games, 238 yards rushing a game, and it's going up.
Here's Moody. Emmanuel Moody began his career at Southern Cal, transferred, set out last year. You want to know what the rushing total is now in this game? 336 yards. That includes that 35-yard run.
Moody, obviously, now having to compete for his playing time, big time. And he's coming in, he's healthy from that, as you said, ankle sprain, and 9 plays of plus 20 yards. Boy, it's hard to even look at that.
Brantley hands it off. It's Moody. Well, we've got an anxious participant back in the studio. Let's go back to Tim again.
Right you are, play-by-play breath. Oregon State's Keenan Lewis is going to look to ice it with this interception. And the Beavers, with just seconds remaining, have this one well in hand. Now all they have to do is beat Arizona and Oregon and presumably meet Penn State in a rematch in the Rose Bowl. America can't wait for that matchup, can they, Vern?
That's and the interesting point there. There's some of us who believe if you don't win your league championship, you can't play in the national championship game. USC does not control their own destiny.
No, not at all. Mike Riley, what a terrific coach he is. What a job he's done. There's the handoff. And a little altercation breaks out on the field again. This is Tate Casey and Emmanuel Cook.
Now, a lot of the backups are in there for Florida. It's not a big deal. You just don't want to get yourself thrown out. Now, it would be a big deal for South Carolina because they play Clemson. They need that win. There's Cook, throws Casey. And then hit that. See, you got to be careful. You could be sitting out the first half of the Clemson game.
Look who's on offense now as a fullback. Javier Estupinan, who had his career almost derailed because of injuries. He was a starting defensive tackle. He's nowhere to be seen on the depth chart, and number 93 on the field as a fullback. Good to see that. .6'2", 290-pound senior from Miami. Had back-to-back injuries that really hampered the development of his career. Bobby Kane is on to punt for the first time. We are going deep in the depth chart.
Yeah. So far, I don't even have him on mine.
This one, that's why Bobby Kane is deep on the depth chart.
Okay.
No, I know, but it was
not high.
It wasn't even
pretty.
12 feet off the ground.
It wasn't pretty. Right.
It wouldn't have cleared the crossbar. But he got a 44-yard.
Got another penalty.
Little chippy here.
Yep.
All right, Percy Harvin, DirecTV player of the game. 8 rushes, 167 yards. Pretty decent average. He opened the second half with an 80-yard run, longest of his career. And
after the play, personal foul, number 8 against South Carolina. That'll be half the distance to the goal. That'll be 1st and 10.
That's a tight end, Larry Freeman. The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
Here's Florida.
In a good defensive league.
Yes.
I know.
This was the number 3 defense in the country. And 335 yards rushing for this team, Florida. But listen to the points. I just 38, 51, 63, 49, 42, and 56 for Urban Meyer's team. That's since the loss at home.
Well, Alabama will have something to say about that. Florida State will have something to say about that. I think those are the two best defenses they'll face all year.
Garcia hands it off, and Eric Baker gets out to, looks like the 10, 11-yard line. Okay, go back. They won. They beat Hawaii. They beat Miami. And then that loss at home, Ole Miss, 31-30, September 27th. Since then, there's the litany of scores. Most points they've given up, 21. And they've got the Citadel at home next week. And then on the road at Florida State.
If you have a son that plays for Citadel, you might be a little nervous about them coming here next week, don't you think? Maybe you could write a doctor's appointment excuse for them.
Glad it's a military school because they can tell you are going.
Wow.
Oh, goodness.
Now, you know, I want to be fair. I'll retract a little bit. Well, you know, LSU was a solid defense. They kind of got caught in that football game. But Florida State and Alabama will be able to run with these teams. It's going to be a little unique with Saban against this defense because this defense is built more for a pro attack, but be fun to watch. We'll have a lot of time to talk about that one.
3rd and 1. That looks like it's enough for the first down, so the clock will stop with 15 seconds to go. Justin Tratto is still out there, number 94. This one's in the books, 56-6. Steve Spurrier wants to have a word with one of the officials.
Don't win 4 in a row. Yes, sir. Coach. Hey, good luck. Don't win 4 in a row.
Now it's time for the Wrangler 5-star play of the game presented by Wrangler. Go all the way back to the first quarter. Here's Mick Huber of the Gator Radio Network.
Deion LaCorn deep for the Gamecocks now. And here's the Florida kickoff, driving LaCorn 2 yards into the end zone, but he'll bring it out. And he now stops and throws a pass across to the left, and it's a loose ball. It's picked up by the Gators, James Smith, and he's going to score a touchdown. Oh, my! James Smith has just picked up a fumble on a lateral off a kickoff. Razzle-dazzle backfires.
Well, they did review it and rule him down at the 1-foot line, but Tebow scored shortly after that. 56-6 the final. Don't forget the lineup tonight on CBS. It'll be full night of entertainment for you, the Wedding Crashers, and then 48 Hours Mystery. 56-6 the final in Gainesville. For Tracy Wolfson, Gary Danielson, Vern Lundquist, good night from Gainesville. We'll see you next week from Baton Rouge.